Let's call this.
Yeah, we're ready to rock.
Let's get it started, huh? Alright.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Good. At least we're getting some precip, huh?
Yeah,
Some
way to
moisture.
go. Awesome.
Makes me feel a little better about the ice, but whatever. So, oh, I got one.
You get one.
I got one.
We'll call this meeting to order.
You got your two, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, last night. Yep. Everybody chance to review the amended agenda? Any conflicts of interest with the amended agenda? Here
I don't
none,
believe so.
here none, will proceed with the reading of the minutes.
November 22nd, 2022, Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Cal Schultz, Chairman presiding. Members present were Rossberg, Vogt, and Schultz. Members present on Zoom were Hayden and Skoog. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. The board approved clerk of court fees for October 2022. Discussion was made with Kaylee of Turnkey Logistics, Kylie with the pipeline project manager, and Riley about the Summit Carbon Solutions Pipeline Project update. A motion was made by Rossberg, seconded by Vogt, to approve the following resolution 2022-32, resolution transferring funds. Transferring $7,000 from our self-insurance fund, $8,500, into the wellness fund of 4020. Voting aye, Hayden, Rossberg, Schultz, Skoog, and Vogt. Motion passed unanimously. During citizen input, there were citizens here to express their concerns about the pipeline and possible ordinances. At 11:21, a motion was made by Vogt, seconded by Rossberg, to open closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5 subsection 1 subsection C in regards to hazardous liquid pipeline ordinance. Motion passed unanimously. At 12:20 p.m., a motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Vogt, to close the closed session. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly seconded, the board adjourned at 11:21 p.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting.
All right, huh?
Here's anything
Okay.
that I need to sign from last week. Since I attended these.
I threw some stuff in your drawer.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything that needed to be signed.
Maybe the back of that resolution.
All right, just remind me
That's
before
probably it.
No, yeah, me too.
Okay. That was supervisor's report. I just, before Ted Blazeman reached out to me this morning again in regards to direction of the compensation board.
Mhm.
We could maybe take just a little bit of time here to kind of, he's looking for guidance on.
He represents us.
Yeah. What we're thinking.
You know, who had talked to me,
I put
10 months, 11 months
Not
ago.
all.
that would have been like, no, but the way inflation has creeped up a lot.
I think we've had some pretty good raises. A couple of departments have had really good raises the last couple of years. So I think that needs to be remembered, but I agree with you. Inflation isn't going to be a factor, and we need to consider that. But inflation can come back down. So that's also something to ponder.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing in my mind is that Social Security had a significant raise, but also if I'm correct, and I don't have all the statistics, but I don't think they've had a very good raise in a long time.
I'll get the stats for you, how it's gone. And when you look at what you get for social security
Yeah.
versus what you get paid when you're actually working,
Mhm.
it doesn't amount to a whole lot.
That's
What
kind
is
of,
For
Social
us,
Security?
me,
That's
yes.
kinda-
Yeah,
knew I
Yeah.
could count on
Don't plan
Gene.
on retirement.
yeah, don't plan
Yeah.
on feeding your family on.
No, I don't plan on that.
No.
Even with an 8% raise.
Natalie doesn't eat much
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, she's in luck, and then what she does eat, she can just grow in the backyard, so she's one of the,
Yeah, she can too.
so we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I'll send you an email or a text.
Yeah, that'd
Shoot
be
me a
great.
text. I
Thank
told him I'd get back to him this afternoon.
On my thoughts.
Yeah.
We gotta meet at 1 o'clock today with
Yes.
Paul and
Yes.
Brad.
Yes,
I think that's downstairs here in regards to Don Reed Bridge, I think.
and I think we have our early childhood. is
Yeah,
fitted
I
too.
can cover there. too.
Well, last time I got there 4 minutes late and I missed it.
It don't last.
Conference board meeting tonight at 5:30.
Yep. Got that written
Hopefully
down.
the
5:30, yep.
Let's talk a little bit about tomorrow, how that's gonna go, as long as we're kind of in an open, so aren't we supposed to go to Galva tomorrow?
Oh, that's,
And
Storm
oh,
Lake,
that is Wednesday, isn't it?
District
Yeah.
3 and
And
Storm
Storm
Lake
Lake.
and Galva.
so can we make both of that happen? I could barely hear you guys discussing that last week. So I wrote that down as something, Galva at 11 and then Storm Lake. What time do we?
10.
Jerry, you're still
At
wanting to go to
10?
Galva, right? Jerry and I thought we'd go to
We were
Galva.
going to Galva.
I wanted to do both, so.
I don't think that's.
No, you can't.
I don't
Storm
know.
Lake is the district. What? Yeah, because they're,
They're
one
the
is
same.
like, I can tell you.
All right.
Where they go here.
I'm about to tell you how that District 3 meeting's gonna go.
Oh, Kylie.
Well,
Way to
I'm
ruin
just-
it.
With
I know. how-
third district president, Carl, I think it's gonna be all pipeline talk
Which I enjoy very much.
for 2.5 hours, which is fine, but I think,
2 hours is about all I can take.
yeah, I mean, it's not a bad topic to
No,
bring up, but
I think I'll go to Storm Lake. Do you think that Galva would would they give a tour another time without Summit being there? No?
I don't know.
that I don't know.
Just to kind of see the inner workings. I was looking forward to that. I really was. Well, I'll go to Storm Lake at 10 then.
Craig, did you want to attend or able to, or?
I'm not gonna be able to attend.
We'll get you updated.
Got some family things pop up and wife and I are leaving for vacation Wednesday night.
Get it in now,
Yeah,
buddy.
get it in now, buddy. Because unlike your other job, there are no paid vacations, no time off. Barely a holiday. Right, time?
We're dedicated.
So, all right,
Really motivated.
so can I catch a ride with somebody to Storm Lake?
I'm not gonna be able to make it,
Oh.
so
So am I going by myself? I think
Was
Dave's
there-
going.
Dave said something about going.
Galva.
All right,
Text Dave.
I
I
got,
had some other stuff pop up, because I was gonna go to Galva
I'll text
myself.
him. Here, Jerry just sent that. He's on his way to Schleswig.
Oh, I did just miss that. Good thing I got here when I did. Well, that's a little north of the intersection.
Snowing.
That's a truck.
It's a truck and a
Oh.
bus. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun day out there.
Yeah, no wonder he decided to give me a ride.
What else? You got Dave's phone
I
number?
do. He,
Yeah, just,
I've had it since
Coordinate
last-
with him.
I
So
will. I'll send a text. I thought I'd see him today, so I didn't.
that kind of hits all the stuff I had wrote down as things to talk about. So Jerry, what did you have last week? Anything?
Oh, the only couple things I had is, you're right, Gene, there's no days off because you get calls. And I got a couple calls about the, something we're going to talk about later about the burn ban.
Oh.
I have a couple people that want it with.
Yeah, keep one, probably hit all of us.
And
You
as
think-
I
fine.
said, we plan to go to Galva tomorrow. I responded to the gentleman. I think his first name, anyway. And are we gonna talk a little more later about the, what we're going to tell Ted, or what my thoughts are?
Just call me,
Okay.
because I'm gonna try, I
can
guess
do
I don't,
that.
I mean, we can talk, if we want, if you want to talk about it, we can do it right now, I guess, because there's no, this will probably be about the opportune time, but I just,
I don't think this has to be on the agenda, does it?
No.
What my thoughts are, I would like to see a dollar raise instead of a percentage raise, and I do not want to see the elected officials take less than what the assessor's office is going to get. Not one dime. I want them to be better compensated, because I feel that a travesty when you have the deputy auditor making more than the people that are running these offices.
Agreed.
We constantly play catch up to make sure that it goes like this, and then everybody has to go here, and then it's just, you know, constantly catch up to somebody else.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the
Well,
game we're in.
I could
Yeah.
unfortunately have that.
Can I interject this? I mean, this don't have to do it this year. Can we set up something for January to get that guy here?
What guy?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe right as soon as we're done with the main part of the budget. Sorry, that guy.
that guy. I knew it was.
I don't remember if he was an HR or a lawyer or a combination thereof.
Combination.
both.
Jack?
No,
No,
this guy spoke down there at ISAC last,
I have no idea.
in August. And he, it's an established, basically pay schedule.
Oh,
he actually
And
gets jobs.
for everybody.
He gets job descriptions
Yeah.
from everybody in the building to find out what their jobs really are.
Mhm.
Because it seems to be that everybody compares their jobs to everybody else's, but nobody really knows who, you
So I
know.
said we need to-
And even when you compare them to other counties, you don't know if you have an office that has 5 people in it and they get this much, and yet an office next door in another county, there's only 3 people in that office, they do this much, and everybody's supposed to be making the same thing. It is, and Jerry, you touched on this over the years, you know, you worked in your job for 40 years and somebody gets the job, they get the exact same thing as you got after building it up for 40 years. They knew what the job paid when they applied for it, and then everybody just wants.
and I would also say this is the time we've talked about the auditor's position before.
Mhm.
In other, I don't know what the majority would be, but there are several counties that pay their auditor more than the other offices.
And that's exactly
I
what
think if
this guy
that was
talked
going to
about.
be in place, that this would be the time to
Well,
put
you
that in
look at-
place, simply because we have a brand new recorder and a fairly new treasurer.
Well,
It should be, it's also dictated that how much of a motor department they have. Now, Carol had a treasurer's office, and they didn't handle any car stuff.
They didn't have driver's license, you mean?
Yes.
exactly, you don't
They do
know.
now.
So I do believe
That's
that
true.
having someone from the outside, they're a disinterested party, and I think they do come into play when it comes to things like legal secretaries. This is what, you know, the private, and talking about benefits, helping that. and just
Basically, some
putting
of the
it
stuff
into-
we've been talking about for the last 2 years that I've been.
And how that conversation started was the most painful time of the supervisors is budgets and raises, and it just becomes such a, you know, we're all elected officials, but the supervisors are the only ones that really seem to care about the budget and we really try to hold it down. Everybody else is angry, you know, we just want to get away from that. We want to have some rhyme or reason to how these raises are given and stop comparing and trying to.
I think everybody cares, Gene, but I think it's the competitive back and forth between every department across our entire complex. I mean, whether it's public health
Mhm.
or the assessors or the second floor. I mean, we never talk about what's going on the top floor.
That's the other problem we run into, though. We don't really control the assessor's office wages. We don't really control the
That's only what
public health.
throws the wrench in.
There's the
Exactly,
wrench.
amen. You have
But
people
that's just it,
who,
is if this guy can come in with a plan that actually asserts some criteria for those boards to use.
Oh.
It eliminates, the way I understood it, it would eliminate the need for a comp board. Other counties are already using this.
Yeah.
And
You
and the
cannot-
counties that are using it like it.
I don't think you can do without a comp board. I've never heard of such a thing. Everybody's got to have a comp board.
Didn't it sound like there was?
I thought that was state.
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, we'll have to let him speak. for
maybe-
us. I just kind of
I
understood
think
it.
maybe what we're thinking about there is that he can counsel with comp boards, you know,
Yeah, there you
Whether they
go.
do
I
away
would
with
think
it or
maybe
whether
that would
they-
be your ticket.
help guide them to, you know, making.
I don't know, I just, everything was set up though, I mean, on starting what you had, over your time in service, kind of reminded me of kind of like our military type thing where you get paid for time in service, and then there was also your promotion. Everything was already set up on a schedule.
But what he
Pay
also
schedule.
talked about is that department heads need to be in on it. They need to want to have that also. It's not,
Well, if they think it's sold to them or presented to them in the right way, I
Right,
think all our
right.
department heads. would
No,
be
that's why I think we do this as an afternoon meeting
yeah.
and have all our department heads there
And
and all
have
of us
him
there.
give that same speech
Yeah.
to department heads so that, and there is some.
I don't think
merit.
it's a 15-minute thing in this
No.
meeting. No, it's gotta be.
I think we need to agree that we should get a hold of him, get a hold of Katie and get that. I think I have it someplace at home. I know I have it because I never get rid of anything. It's just my,
I mean, it'd be worth
Good idea.
it'd
exploring,
be
Oh,
worth it.
absolutely.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's think about that, but we can't get it done.
but now what do we do with the one you're on now?
I have some thoughts.
Uh,
I like the
I think
dollar.
last year we just really got pushed kind of in the corner because the state law with the sheriff's deal.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, but we still are working on it.
Yeah.
And that's not gone away. I mean, we still have to
That's one
compare
some of the
his,
guidance if they want to adjust his
we still have to
quite
compare him
large
every
again
year.
because we cut it so much last year.
We didn't say we would.
So we might, I mean, I don't know if we're caught up to where it's an equal with the,
Maybe there's more guidance for us this year as far as, because last year there was really
nothing's changed.
no guidance on really what you were supposed to compare it to, and it didn't make any sense to compare it to a city, and
Anyway,
there was miscommunication between what,
oh, I guess Ray Curley, he called me too. That was the other thing.
Oh, thanks for bringing it up. Did everybody see that email from Martha? That
yes,
there was she failed to
Yes.
catch something in the paperwork part of it.
Mhm.
So are we even gonna take action on that today?
I think, didn't she say we could go ahead and have the public hearing? We just.
she said it wouldn't stop
affect-
that.
Right.
Okay, so we'll have the public hearing, but we won't be able to actually
Correct. Hi, Dave.
vacate the
Hey,
streets
Dave, I
till
just sent you.
later on.
Road's back?
This is, she said this does not impact the actual vacation of the streets. She said, I'll be asking the board to reschedule the vacation of the Kenwood for later meeting, but
She did say that it won't affect the public hearing.
All right, we at least have the public hearing and let
That's fine.
let it be known to them that
Mhm.
we do plan on moving forward with it. It's just a clerical error on our behalf that's gonna
hold it up a
Push it
little
up.
bit.
push it back. Okay,
Did anyone check their email this morning?
I printed it. It's in the.
Oh,
folder.
from the carbon solution.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that one? The long letter.
I have to let him know that I can't make it now,
Who?
because I'm double booked.
Who?
This Elliot Meyer.
might not hurt.
It says this does not impact the actual vacation of the streets, only the time frame. I'll be asking the board to reschedule the vacation of Kenwood to one of the later meetings in December.
I
Well,
don't have an email.
Read me if I'm wrong here, but according to our agenda, we just,
It's just a hearing anyway.
we don't have the
There's no
action,
action.
no
item.
action in regards to that. Okay, so we wouldn't be able to take the action of vacating the streets today. anyway.
Right. We wanted to waive one of the hearings and take that action, but you can't do that. today.
Yeah, but we have to have it actual on the agenda for vacating streets in Kenwood, city of unincorporated.
I told Ray so we could listen in.
Okay,
That's all I know.
all right. Eric, you know anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
We're still working on the issue with workforce development. And I've phoned a little bit with her representatives up in Sioux City. some Paid personnel.
Sounds good. Ty?
Hey, I was just kind of doing some tower stuff. So I didn't really have any notable meetings other than the IT meeting. Which, I gosh, that was actually. And I didn't get to be there for all that because I had another Zoom meeting I had to go to. Though the cell site stuff on them towers, the shelters. That's on our agenda today, and so I mean, that was one thing that we had to deal with. Them generators, all that stuff is part of that. Some of them might be out to May or so before we can get them.
I was reading that. It said 67 weeks on the generators. Is that a typo? As in 67 weeks?
67.
Oh, that's 67, I know.
That don't really coordinate with
Yeah.
May was
What we're
mentioned.
wanting to get done.
well, it said
But I
67
think
weeks,
that
but I'll
would
have
be-
them in May.
That would be anyone we get them through now. I think you're gonna deal with that on the commercial grade ones. I mean, you could probably find a residential, but these are 36 kW, so I mean, these puppies will power the planet. They'll
Yeah.
be good. They'll be good ones. That's typically what they use on these cell towers sites, so,
36 kW.
yeah, that's what it said.
You would think, but just a little Honda generator would power them radios and stuff, but apparently not, huh?
I don't, I suppose it
guess I don't know
depends
what it
on what all
takes.
you're putting on there.
Yeah, I suppose put output.
I mean, I don't know what it takes to fire up all your equipment that goes in there. I mean, like this one here probably uses more power than Ridge Road. Man, Ridge Road, there really ain't that much out there, but I don't know how much energy it uses.
You know, I don't know how they stepped that up, 'cause there was quite some transformers and stuff that are within. I don't know how all that works, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with these people we hired, that are the professionals, because I sure don't know. But
Well, the heating and cooling part, that's gonna draw a lot of
a lot of
juice.
juice.
Electric heat, well, it's propane heat, but still, it's gonna draw a lot.
I
of
think the
juice.
AC units are probably what you're worried about more, and that's actually more important than heat. Actually,
You probably run
Mike
the-
said that the components in there on most of these shelters will keep it warm enough in the winter.
I
Because
think,
the heat they kick out.
I think, it's not uncommon to have the air conditioner running in the winter.
In the winter
on
time.
units, so.
Yeah,
But
so
just we got 70 kW at the fire station in Charter Oak.
Yeah.
That's all electric. We can turn every heater, every air conditioner, air compressor, welder, everything on. And it just don't come off the light.
yeah. Well, they said a 36 will like run your home.
Right,
So-
so I guess I'm sure they've done the math and figured out what it needs, so.
Yeah. And that's what some of them generators were sitting there when I was out there and toured it that day, and that's the size all of them are. So I suspect that's kind of an industry standard. So that's,
Go big or go home.
I'm sure you got it. You could probably wear out a little on.
Yeah. But for $800 versus
Yeah.
buy a few of them too.
That's true. Anyway, I really didn't have a very busy week. I mean,
Holidays.
yeah, with the holiday in there, it wasn't. I had some calls about the burn ban stuff too, probably the same dang people calling all of us.
Yep.
And that was about it for me.
Gene, other than your flight troubles,
Well, I did have a mental health meeting. It was not our regular meeting. We had to call a special meeting. Clay Adams was our main speaker because there is a shortfall, with stepping stones. And so I wrote this down as the question. Is it time to close stepping stones? Was the question, because it's just so disheartening because that is a program that has a waiting list and it is full. But
And we're paying people to do nothing in Sioux City.
that's kind of where that whole conversation went. It's the indirect expenses of payroll and benefits. They've raised everybody's wages $3 an hour just to get people to be able to come in, and then they try to give a good wage. So the indirect expenses is part of what the problem is. But because it's not a core service, we can't promise that we'll have it in our budget to compensate for the shortfall that they had during their 990 audits this year. And I'm sure you know all about that. So what we basically did was tabled it because we really need to find out where we're gonna be. Dawn is predicting, in order to keep everything going, we're gonna have a shortfall. Originally, we talked about an $850,000 shortfall. She feels we're gonna have to reduce the budget by $995,000. It's the number that she gave at this meeting. It's kind of a long meeting, trying to figure out, we had DHS, Rob with DHS was also there. Not gonna go through the whole thing because next week on the 7th is gonna be our big long meeting. Had a big discussion about that because we always have them in Holstein at, we've been having them at 2:30. Jeremy Taylor, who was on and then now he's back on, he was off and on, teaches school. And so he's wanting to change those to an evening meal or meeting or possibly 3 o'clock, which gets the gal in Humboldt and myself home about 6 o'clock at night. We're not, we don't know why we would, 2:30 seems plenty late for a meeting. So big discussion about that. So then I got an email. Now we're gonna have them in Sac City. So I don't know. You gotta watch the emails because they're switching stuff up on you all the time. But be prepared for a long meeting on the 7th because we will have some of our final numbers and what is really going to happen with our first year with mental health and the services that are not being provided and the services that are not being funded are they're just eons apart from what the need really is. And we really don't want stepping stones to fix. That's the unanimous decision, but we can't promise money that we're not sure we're gonna have. So really, when you have a waiting list and a program that's working, but because it's not a core service.
And then you got another one in the other town and that
Yeah.
doesn't seem anybody in over a year
Yeah.
with full staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seemed like a waste of money.
It just doesn't make sense to us common thinkers. So we struggle with it, but stay tuned for our next meeting. Had some phone calls, of course, about the pipeline, some concerns about some things going on. Wind turbines. Only 1% of the electricity is actually produced by wind turbines. Is that correct?
Yep.
1% nationwide. I don't know.
I think it's a growing number, but they've always kind of quoted it in chunks and.
1%.
Mhm.
For all that we go through in our county and only 1% of the electricity is produced by it, none of it really. I don't get it. I don't get it. And
I would think more about the money spent coming out of Washington and so forth,
Well-
that only creates 1% bothers me more. than
Exactly.
everything.
yeah, the whole big picture of it is, yeah, but it's all landing right here in the Midwest. So
Yeah.
a lot of conversation about that. I did have a question about the regulations that the pipeline says that they're going over and above. I had somebody wonder exactly what regulations they're referring to, because according to what they can see, there are really no regulations out there. So I've asked Kaylee to send me what she's referring to, and then she didn't seem to have what I needed. So then I called Brett from Elburn Ames, and he's gonna try to find what regulations. He didn't know exactly what she was referring to at our meeting. So he's gonna, but if you say you're going over
These
and
are the
above
ones she was quoting.
something, but where would the average person find those? Is there a link to that?
I would say.
Well, I'm gonna find out now.
Well, one's a federal regulation, CFR. That's a code to federal regulation, so, but that's the only one that quotes a federal regulation.
So, Patty, did you leave that one?
Let me put it in a drawer.
Gene, is there any chance that stepping stones could be made a core service?
Well, that was a question, what would we have to do to make it a core service?
I mean, if it's so successful and then we're spending all this money, then that's the one thing we wanna, that's what we're gonna do, maybe shut that thing down. Doesn't make sense.
That was a question. I have a little note here about 2 to 3 years. Always got lots of notes. And I was a little short on paper. So
I just Googled them and those
Yeah.
regulations, and I just typed the regulation number in and it came up with,
But is it referring to setbacks and so forth, or is it just?
I haven't got that deep into it yet. but
So anyways, people are questioning the regulations and what they're referring to and
So
really don't want me to know about that. So shouldn't we- I'll get a
I would
copy.
think they're a smart enough company that they just want to throw some numbers down on paper without having any backing behind it, but I could be wrong,
You're always the positive thinker.
right?
All right, that's kind of it for a holiday week. We did go through city
Got
center,
15 minutes
Dan and I
to
did.
Oh, you did.
Never, I'm not used to that.
I did get Dan into the city center, so we could take a look at it and Kim and I are going through today.
Okay.
There was an extension cord plugged in, and somebody must be plugging their car in on the outside. So I took a chair out there.
And unplug it.
I did.
Plugging their car in
Yeah,
there.
Dan's gonna keep an eye on it for me. Yeah,
How does that work?
Really?
yeah. I went
No, I know how it.
So you're-
So
you
somebody
plugged
get in
the
there?
Why
extension-
did
No,
I
it's
say
the outside.
that?
There's a plug-in on the
Stupid me.
outside. Is whenever I drive by, there's always all these cars parked, so
Yep.
now that it's cold, somebody must need to plug their car in. So there's an extension cord plugged in.
I guess for free electricity, I just didn't have a warm
So
engine. when
I
started.
went in and got a chair, stood on the chair and, oh, good thing I didn't fall.
That's a good thing. you didn't
No,
fall.
kid, did you get the license plate number?
No, there was no car there because
Oh, it's
they're
just
working.
the,
So,
okay, gotcha.
yeah, I thought that was just the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen. I walked up and there's just plugged
Oh.
into our building.
Is it our parking lot then? or
That is
that-
ours.
Be
That,
possible.
there's unequivocally, that is my electricity and that
Here,
is
stop and be careful.
unequivocally my part of the stop that somebody's
I
plugging
heard
in
your comment. so be
while they
positive.
think it's.
I am
vacated, so
positive.
Okay.
I might have to call
Wow.
the Denison Police Department.
Yeah.
I reported that.
Thank you.
It was, yeah. After I was standing on the chair, I thought, what am I doing out here? I was just so annoyed.
Can you just be like the rest of society and just pull
No, I wanted to,
I wonder if
Is there
there's
an
a
apartment there?
breaker.
You must
that-
have 4 or 5
plug
people
in.
on the apartment.
I don't know.
Should take a,
Should flip
well,
some
you've unplugged
breakers.
it now.
I
and while
have.
you're getting on a chair, plug it back in.
Did
Well,
you
well,
have
shut
days
it
and
off.
plug back in by chance?
No, I didn't go.
Okay.
I walked that way.
Be on my regular route.
I did see a white Prius sitting there.
Busted.
It doesn't need gas, but it needs a
That
warm.
that would be
engine.
the other thing. Are they using it to charge the vehicle?
I don't think
That's,
so.
that's
You
what
gotta probably have
where
more than
mine,
one
That,
jack for that.
I do know
Yeah.
that takes a
That's
special
certainly-
plug
Yeah,
in.
you use what-
It takes
what
a
you got, a
special,
flush machine.
yeah, they wouldn't have needed to leave the extension cord there if they were one of those kind of cars and they would have to park on the side. Well, maybe they are. Now that I think about it.
Could be.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I just thought that was interesting. I thought,
we can get sidetracked. or
well, that's a report.
Well, I appreciate that. report.
Yeah, really.
That's legit.
You brought a lot of exciting news
Yeah,
to the table,
well,
Gene.
that's
In the 2 days I was.
She ate up 4 more minutes for you.
Perfect.
Give her something else to distract.
The one thing there wasn't much going on with holiday week, but Paul, Chris came over Wednesday and picked me up and drove some roads in the Charter Oak area and come up with some conclusions and suggestions to, I think, help ease the calls that we were getting in regards to edge ruts and stuff of that nature within the Charter Oak area. So it was a good drive. So.
That's good.
Which kind of led us to what he was talking about, getting that gentleman from Caterpillar in there next summer. and just-
Oh, yeah, having a little
We
tutorial
spend,
type thing.
well, that's the thing, we spend, $500,000 on a motor grader. It'd be nice to have our operators know what they all can do, because I think the loss of some of our senior motor grader operators is a big hole that's created.
Yeah.
Somebody
Lot of
that's been
wisdom.
doing it since you know, maybe, I don't wanna say since horse drawn equipment, but they've been doing it, they've come through the evolution of these machines and when they were simple and so,
I've operated a horse drawn one.
yeah.
Yeah, in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
we bought it.
So I think that'll be good to get that gentleman in here and have him.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Have an official training day for the motor grader operator.
Yeah, there's just so much that. He's just the 8 years, 9 years that I've been out there. I wonder what they've changed like. So
Mhm.
You've been out of there that
So
long.
you gonna go watch?
I probably will.
No, I think it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah,
Was it joysticks already when you were there?
they were just coming. They were just starting them. So I think we had 2 of them.
I was talking to Jerry George about that when he first got that. He said, at first I was kind of crooked all over, looked like a drunk guy who thought working that road.
They did too, you know.
Didn't he, isn't the one that, the new one that we're getting, or we just gotten, isn't it going over in the Charter Oak area?
I think that's what Paul said.
And isn't it not the last one, isn't it the last one that's the joystick that's coming in?
Oh, we've had all joysticks.
No, I mean, it's, I think the one that is there is being replaced with this joystick machine, and I thought
That's
possibly.
the last
that-
4x4, 4x6.
Oh, okay.
No,
that's
that
what's
one's
okay.
even a 6-wheel drive and
Is it?
Charter Oak ready. So I don't know what the hours are or stuff. And then they
So
do-
one of the backups is the last 4x6 that's going out this. trip?
Right,
Okay.
yeah, so that'd be my guess.
Well, I heard rumors that Cat's doing some work on the diesel over electric motor. Would be nice if that don't get too crazy on price, trading out one every year and then doing a rebuild every year of one from them starting. Because if that does a 50% fuel savings like the bulldozer does, oh my goodness, we could save a lot of money every year, especially in a year like this.
And I kudos to them for doing that. I mean,
Yeah. You think about the
I wish the whole.
less
industry-
fossil fuels, and yeah, I wish everything was just
Wish
diesel.
in the industry would not just slam the door on one and try to open the door on the other. There needs to be a,
Happy medium.
well, yeah, and a ways, a path to get to. There's just so much in the construction agriculture that I just don't see how it can possibly.
I don't see electric working for you.
But my grandfather always said 8-row planter was never working hills either, so now they're but 36-row planters, so I mean,
You ever see the
Surprise,
turn around,
students.
sat and watched for an hour and guys trying to turn it around and to plant.
one big farm by us, they've got rid of most all their big planters, went to smaller planters again because they can get done faster.
With the smaller ones, yeah, then messing with
That mess and trying to turn that big thing around.
I'm
You have
glad.
anything to fill time here, Madam Auditor?
Not me.
We're getting close. You're doing good. I don't know if any of you heard, Mid-Continent sold out and let a lot of their people go, if I understood it right. Mhm. I know the whole, it sounded like the whole office staff did. They sold out to some outfit in Oklahoma, and I think that they were probably just after their hauling
Okay.
and their, probably their equipment too.
No.
Now, I don't know that they let everybody go. I heard the whole office staff through the truck driver rumor network, which, you know.
That's a
usually-
big one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized rumor network. Covers the country beyond. Which is kind of too bad. Hopefully that isn't anything too detrimental to our area. I mean, some drivers will find other homes around here pretty fast. I mean,
As if they don't get to stay on with the new company. I'm sure there'll be some that.
I'm sure Mueller, heck, we're all looking for owner operators and drivers, so. Just depends on what they like doing. I mean, like Mueller's a reefer fleet, so. I'm sure they already got some of them too. I mean, I'm sure there's other outfits around there. They'll find work, so I mean, I ain't worried about people starving, but.
When they got, yeah, I was listening to, I zipped through got one of those programs for putting all the radio stuff on. There's a, I didn't know there's a trucking ranch radio channel.
Oh, yeah, on XM.
I was listening on XM,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's,
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
well, you know, I remember when I first doing it, it was really funny. And it was almost comical.
Yeah. Yeah, they all use that.
But I bet you they get this train thing settled out, then the truck drivers will go out next.
And you know, and that's something else to be worried about. If that train strike happens and it has any length to it, it
You
could
thought it was
really
bad
affect
back in
prices.
You thought it was bad last year when they were packing all those chairs, they're all sitting offshore about.
Well, you think about how many trains of Buffett's bring oil down out of Canada. You know, and stuff like that. I mean, if that, all that,
Maybe Warren should write a personal check,
that's right.
cover the difference, huh?
He can't take it with him anyway, getting close to being dead. Well, he's not spring check. Maybe you can afford cryogenic, I don't know. But the, that could be another challenge to our economy.
Well, both. I mean, both the railroad and the.
Well, the railroad stops, and the shipping stops, trucks will stop, or I'll get backlogged anyway.
Yeah, well, there won't be enough of us to keep up if the railroad not running.
Right.
And they'll run the prices, the rates will go through the roof again. Cost everybody more at the store, and all this stuff will turn a big circle. More stuff to worry about even down here.
Congress can take action to stop the railroad strike. If they
You know,
choose.
I'm just not in favor of that, though. Really. I
What's
mean,
that?
I think government, that's part of the problem is government's too damn into everything else, you
The
know?
government's got that right, because when they put the railroads in,
Yeah.
government gave them the,
Well, they gave them the right to have a monopoly.
yeah. That's the difference.
But you know, they're not intervening in the railroad side, they're intervening on the union side, when the union's wanting more money and the railroad don't want to pay more. So that's where you're picking a winner there.
Mhm.
I mean, I get that it's looking after the national interest, but I haven't made up my mind on that.
I think it's right in the middle of December here, it's gonna be. Didn't they take a
12th, yeah.
60-day break from
Yeah, cooling off
negotiations
there.
to breathe? Come up for air?
Yeah, so we'll see.
I haven't seen the claims yet.
We didn't have any.
You didn't have any?
I don't remember seeing
Oh,
anything.
okay.
That's why you haven't seen them.
That's a
You're
really good
safe for a
answer.
week. We had them last week.
Oh,
You don't remember you were living on Rocky Top.
I was.
Uh-oh.
Looks like Paul's only in 15 minutes.
Not real sure that's the foul they were talking about, but okay. Your cup, your cup.
Probably not.
Can you pass me down the coffee, please?
Sure.
Ice cap is growing exponentially.
Yeah. Well, we must be at the place where we need to be on global, oh no, it's climate change.
Yeah. We're in the cooling.
Where was I reading? I was watching something, I think it might have been on the Smithsonian.
Why don't you just go into global cooling now?
Yeah.
We'll have to start using fossil fuels.
Start burning, start push our fuel mileage down, so we're throwing more carbon. Get us heated back up.
Well. Well, Paul, you're coming on time.
Yeah, he should be pretty close.
Conference room.
Maybe he slept coming back from the cafe. I don't know if he goes
Well,
over
I think
there.
it's satchel here. Let's see.
It looks like it's pretty slick out there, because them truck drivers usually know how to stay on the road.
I'd say it's probably slept. And then it's supposed to be by Friday and
Did you get
damn near
it?
7.
Okay, thank God.
I just can't remember.
Is
I
that-
just was
Is
thinking
that right
about
by
it.
Virgil Boyd's place?
Thanks.
You betcha.
Is that on the curve?
If Jerry would be,
Yeah.
hand that over to Eric.
Good.
It's on the curve right there,
Is that by
yeah.
Virgil
That's,
Boyd?
that's up here on top of the hill,
Isn't
isn't it?
That's Jerry going to Schleswig today, or maybe he's coming back.
Maybe this is on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, this is the time of year I hate the
Back
most
over
in
by-
trucking,
yeah.
because it's warm and you run more ice streets and ice. I'd rather run on 6 feet of snow than ice. Ice and fog are the two things I hate the most. Both of them just wear me
We should
out.
get some traction on the snow.
Yeah.
No, it'd be limited.
What's that?
Maybe he's
Oh,
announcing
ice.
retirement.
If I'm loaded, I can survive on snow.
Yeah.
I have a little Datsun D210. When I was going to school in Denver.
Yeah.
Over. And
Oh, then you
I had it out and
No, I know.
I'm still wired up and doing finals and stuff.
Ah!
I just said, I'm
Don't make
taking
the
off
same
now.
mistake.
I know, you're right.
I'll start.
Got
I'll
one
leave
to
tomorrow
be-
morning. It was snow.
I'm like, damn, shot myself in the foot.
You're not driving back until tomorrow. No, I won't leave till tomorrow morning, so. I hung up the phone, got
Oh, my- One of my brighter.
clear out the
Brighter
Sterling.
times
About
in
my
my
turn, I
life.
got the Sterling. They're just getting ready to shut
I
down
should
the
text
interstate.
him. Maybe he's
And
like,
I hopped in there with 3 other trucks.
look who's- come on
And they
down.
followed me all the way to Omaha.
Come on down. Uh-oh.
Paul just asked me to stop up. He's out with the grader
I
operators.
was just going to text him and see if he was, with the weather that's going on, if he's not tied up with something else.
Yeah, he's out with the guys in the trucks. We got a couple, newer guys out there and got a couple new trucks. He just kind of make sure everything's working all right.
We can appreciate that. Keep us out of a claim.
Yeah. There's a feeder on the back of one of the trucks that kind of, almost a fit, so he's kind of helping put it through that. And keep an eye on the roads and trying to keep the guys in the trucks that know what they're doing, so.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
but he didn't, I don't think he had much on his agenda for today.
All right.
Looks like it
Kinda
must
go over, but.
have been short.
Pardon?
Looks like it must have been short because they didn't leave in much time, so.
Well, we had a hearing planned for 10 AM, so.
Yeah, you would have been here for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The only question I was gonna ask of him is with these contracts we're looking at later, there's a $5,000 delivery fee per shack. I was wondering if secondary roads would want to take a low boy and go over to Cedar Rapids and bring a shack back.
Shack Pack.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah,
What is this?
our communication towers, shelters, they're charged, the contract is a delivery fee of 5,000 a piece to.
I think I remember them saying we could
But-
bring them ourselves.
But the only thing that I was thinking of is we'd have to offload them at our expense, so.
We do anyway.
Right, but would the crane be here to offload all 3 the same day, or would we have to? With the mobilization fee for the crane,
Well, like
3 different
times.
times?
You're gonna be wanting to move our one here in town too.
Yep. I'm just trying to think that all through, because if it costs us $4,000 every time to mobilize that crane to come. Where these guys can come and maybe bring all 3 of them the same day and just that crane moves from site to site. And splits the mobilization fee. That's the concern of mine, where I don't know if we got enough equipment at secondary roads to all fly over to Cedar Rapids and bring 3.
Probably got enough trucks. I don't think we got enough low boys. Well, can we borrow some for another county?
That's the only thing that I was thinking, trying to think through. We got enough low boys.
You think so?
We
I mean,
got 3, don't we?
3, yeah.
Great bridge crew, and there's an east
You
and
said
west
it's
one.
3 shacks.
Yeah,
3 shacks. They got a crane over there that.
they'll load them over there.
Okay.
We just gotta get them back, and I think we can haul them cheaper than $5,000.
What are the dimensions
Oh, yeah.
of those shacks?
$5,000 would probably fuel all 3 trucks.
Well, the shacks will be oversized loads, but we're a government, so we don't really have to deal with much of that.
Put the regular marking.
Wide load sign on them, so,
Right.
They're not a lot wider.
no, they're 9 foot or something, ain't they?
10.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 by 10?
No, this one's 10 by 12 down here. I think they're 10 by 15 by 10 by 15 or I don't know.
We can talk to him in regards to it, but we just need to find out the,
I'm sure if I'm sure we could probably do it cheaper than what you.
Especially since we'll be doing it during your winter hour, your winter months.
Trips, but
Ain't like, it isn't like we'd be pulling anybody off grade crew or bridge crew, it'd be the winter months, so.
right. Gonna kind of be shutting down operator. The grade crew just finished up their last project, and kind of going to, well, they're doing some shaping up down by the dome there. Gonna try and get the grades up there. Got some work up on buoy to do. Not exactly sure what they're doing up there. I got to go up there and kind of check that out, but doing little things to try to finish out the year and then, brush cutting and things of that nature. So same with the bridge crew. They're fixing, we do our inspections and get a list of the bridge crews kind of working on a lot of the action items that we find during our inspections, missing bolts, plank, replace plank, and a lot of little stuff, but they finally have an opportunity to kind of get some of that done, so. So they're working on that, but yeah, it's not like we don't have the manpower.
I mean, it only take a day to do it, we just have to coordinate it with the crane. That we wouldn't wanna,
Short
we
days.
wouldn't
though.
wanna unload them and then we could get them one day and then unload them the next day or something, but.
Well, like I said, we might have to talk with Paul or the logistics on how we get it done, but I'm sure we can get it done.
Seems like 15,000 we could save the taxpayers.
Mhm.
It's not gonna be a true 15,000, but it'd be, I think it'd be a lot of, maybe 10,000.
Yeah, it's all really, I mean, we're paying the people to be here anyway, so it's fuel's big cost.
So that's 5,000 a piece.
Yeah, a
Oh,
piece,
wow.
Per unit.
yeah. That was quite,
Different permitting though for them heavy haulers. That's pretty expensive stuff.
that's right, well, I don't think we would have to follow them permits.
We would be tied to the
Mhm.
same kind of.
And it's all good
Not saying
street.
we don't want to do things right, but
It's all good street. I mean, good wide roads. and
Right,
High speed for the most part, safe roads. Till you get over in western Iowa, and then we're in the Stone Ages.
Laying over here. So that's all I think that's all I had. I was gonna ask Paul, but
yeah, like I said, I don't know if we all maybe had on the agenda, but you just, like I said, ask me about them.
Okay.
So that means I'll look at roads, so,
perfect.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good stalling, Cal. Still got 8 minutes. We're working.
Huh?
The other one, I don't know if we're moving that, because it said something about not doing the painting and stuff on the one down here until spring now, but we'll still, I would assume, move it. We want to move it when the crane's here. I don't think it matters if they work on it down here or they work on it out there at Species.
Abating the current, but.
Yeah.
They bring their own trucks and do their thing out wherever it's at on
That's what
site.
I didn't say, didn't see the package.
So I think we still can move that, because you'd want to be able to do all
Got
that
it.
I
at
should
the
have
same
said
time. We need to get that crane.
Got it.
Sorry.
So is that something we need to orchestrate the crane thing anyway? So I would say we should try to do that split mobilization and reduce that. If we're gonna do all 4 of them the same day. Every 2 days. or
You
whatever.
bet.
Even if it's in 2 days.
Oh, this
yeah.
is that.
That's that
It's
special.
just great if they bring one at a time. We're gonna have
A lot.
4 mobilization, crane mobilization.
No, I think you do it all in one day. I think that was the plan to begin. with.
Okay. So, if that's the case, we can definitely get. Go out haul. And just sitting out there in the yard in the morning.
Yeah.
We go.
Yeah, and you know, if we had another lowboy sitting there, load the other one up while it was in
The
town.
first one was, no. Yep. And there's a tire, a trunk or something, we could haul it if we had to. We were in such a bind.
Just threw up like the one down here. No, we could probably load that with one of our big payloaders. couldn't we?
Well, they unloaded it here with our train.
With our crane.
They said, but I was always all they, that's all they wanted, so unloading is usually a little easier than loading.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd save us some money on that one too.
I'm guessing they're probably done with the civil site by now.
I haven't been out there this week. I didn't go out there last week either because well,
Yeah, I might have slowed them down to
holiday. I was and this week I got a plate full. I don't think I'm driving today. I don't have to.
Excuse me.
bring back in the day, everybody be in the service station getting their studded tires put on today.
Yeah,
First ice.
drinking Pepsi and peanuts. Drop the peanuts in your Pepsi while they're putting your studded tires on.
Oh, no, no, this- yeah. I can print this off, at home, it would not print.
Was it Feenstra? Who are you with, Ken?
Feenstra, yeah.
Feenstra, yeah. Were you just sitting in,
What?
are you just visiting?
I'm coming to hang out with you guys.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't read.
we got 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Many minutes ago.
What's that?
Well, I guess we got 4 minutes here of dead space. Did you want to talk to us at all, or just let us know that he's working for us and we can reach him at this number type thing, or?
I think you did a lot better than I could have. I wasn't planning on saying anything. I just
Okay.
wanted to hear what's going on. I
All right.
wanted to stop
we
you
got
before
me,
that
we got me met at the
Hungry Canyon.
Hungry Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I remember.
So you have an office in Sicily?
We do, yes.
Are you in the federal court?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, my daughter used to work for Clark and out of the federal courthouse there.
It's still the same.
I appreciate you coming today on the road conditions that are.
You drove all the way down today?
I am based out of Council Bluffs now,
Oh.
so bad. Yeah. When I back up to Cincinnati, the office there and stuff.
I will bring this back.
Oh, no, I
Well,
know.
hopefully they'll have some ice melting capabilities on the roads by then.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
think
think
there
it's
is.
supposed to quit by noon is what I was looking at the forecast, but.
Okay.
we'll
Oh, I
see.
think we can.
Hate to see snow, but I'd like to see it rain for like 4
Because
days.
they've already started, just like, remember how they already had all that money invested, and then we were going to put in the ordinance, and that's why we might have to do a construction agreement. But they're fine. Well, I agree.
When it starts to signage year-round.
Yep.
It's easy to sit here and apply your all federal without specifying which. I think you're sure. there's some state requirements and there's probably some federal safety requirements. You'll have to-
Dan,
You know, I was doing some research for the zoning for, like, if we're gonna do something for solar. You know, them solar panels, there's nowhere to go with them, and they've got all these hazardous chemicals that are in them. I don't know what the heck is in them. But
Silver,
that's,
there's a lot of silver in it too.
is there, but anyway, I'm sure somebody would want to, but just as far as decommissioning them things and put, we wouldn't want them in our
We don't want to take care of
our
it.
county. We don't want it here. I mean, there needs to be some, if we would ever devise an ordinance for solar, that there's no place to dispose of them within the borders of Crawford.
right, that they take them with them.
Take them, yeah. If you're doing that, you take them to a responsible
Well, that's the
facility.
co-op that owns the one down there on
I just think that that's something that, that's some of the, our groundwaters and all that, if you have people starting to bury that kind of crap or just letting it sit in the back and stuff start draining out of them, that could be a problem. Something to think about.
On that paper you needed to know was 20.06%.
What's that?
What's that?
Oh, well.
It's the only
Thanks,
thing
Gene, for doing that math for me.
You're welcome.
Wow's that?
20.06 on what?
A raise.
Wage increase?
Raise increases.
Wow.
20.06 is the number.
For what?
Makes the eyes remember to the head.
That's what it's saying.
Watch out for it.
You know how many years? That was last year.
No.
All right.
Might know his daughter.
Martha said she'd be here.
Might know his daughter. She works,
Well, Pam's still.
he works for the governor.
Well, I have 10 o'clock, so I would entertain a motion to open a public hearing regarding vacating streets in Kenwood.
I would so move.
And moved and seconded to open the public hearing to vacating the streets in Kenwood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right. You got a call. All right. Oh, is there anybody on Zoom in regards to this public hearing? Yes, sir. What's that?
Hi, Ray. We're in the public hearing right now. We're just starting.
Okay, great.
So you can listen
Thanks
in.
for the call, Jerry.
Not a problem.
Tell me he's on speaker.
Ray, you're on speakerphone, so we can all hear you, so. Yes,
Alrighty.
you have a question, sir?
Yeah, they send me, I don't know why. I went downstairs to the phone, they come, they say, come in, this room. And I have got it.
Oh, you got court today?
Yeah.
Oh,
floor.
Third floor.
Third floor.
One more. Go upstairs.
I want them to come in.
Mm-mm.
No,
Oh,
we don't do
hope
court.
you're not late.
Go upstairs, one more floor. No problem.
I don't know who's talking.
Oh.
You're breaking up real bad right now.
We have a gentleman that was looking for court, so we really haven't discussed the vacation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, as we know, there's been a possible, well, we're definitely have come to agreements, I think, with the landowners and property owners in the city of, unincorporated city of Kenwood, and mutual agreements has been developed, and but where the county will just actually, or Tim, you want to open that? Oh, yeah, just leave it open a little bit, your door locks. or-
Always turn the knob on it.
Martha's here now. She can better explain the process and how where we ended up at, but
Thank you.
Martha, just hop right in. We're already in the public hearing part of it.
Oh,
So
sure. So,
you can come on down if you want.
for Kenwood, the board had set the hearing date and time for today. And when we were checking on just the process of it going through, that was when we discovered that we have to give notice to the mortgagees of property owners within 300 feet of Kenwood, which is a little odd for sure. But that is what we need to do. So we need to do that. So we're asking that the hearing is just reset for a later date in December. There's nothing substantive with the legal descriptions, with the actual vacation itself. It's just more of making sure we get all the boxes checked on the notice side.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I got a question. So after them notices have been sent out, we have to have another public hearing in case there's
Somebody got it.
Right.
argumentative parts.
Yep.
Okay,
And throughout the process, we have not, our office has not been contacted by anyone who said we don't like it. We
Ray
definitely
Crilly's on
can.
the phone.
Oh, hey, Ray.
Hi there.
And even if the mortgage holders did say like, oh, we don't want this to happen, they don't have standing, so they wouldn't be able to stop the process. It's kind of an odd duck in the legal world that you would be entitled to notice, but you would not have standing to object. But that is where we are.
Okay, once those notices have been sent out, I'm just trying to think, keep this process moving.
For sure.
Is there a time frame that needs to be established once they've been sent out and they give 10 days or 20 days to review it, or is it just?
It is just notice of the new date and time of the hearing. So if the hearing is reset for, if it's the 20th or 27th, I don't know if the board's meeting on the 27th.
Yep, we will.
Yep, either the 20th or 27th, that's the notice that's given.
Will that be a doable date, the 27th, because next week's the 6th already, and then, because we'll have to have it on the agenda to set date and time for public hearing.
Yeah, we'll do that on the 6th. We'll get it to publication that next week. We could possibly even publish it the 8th and 9th,
We'll have it on the 20th.
and then have it on the 20th. What would be the publication requirements, 4 and 20 or 10 and 20?
Notice of proposed vacation shall be published twice.
Oh, twice.
Yes,
Okay,
published
then
twice.
then at least
Okay,
we'd be able to do
so
So
if we did it the 8th and 9th and so I'm talking 8th and 9th because we have 3 papers. 2 of them publish on the Thursday, 1 publishes on a Friday. So I'm assuming we need to publish all 3 twice.
we should be only publishing in one,
Oh, okay, our major circulation
Yep.
paper. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
publish in one twice. So I
So
would
that would be
think,
the 9th and the 16th. Is that soon enough before the 20th?
it
to-
would be, I would, just to build in for anything, I would recommend the 27th.
Okay.
27th is fine.
To
Let's
review
not
the public
speed it
hearing.
along. Let's give ourselves time. to-
I'm having trouble hearing,
You want to explain that?
but I've got trouble.
There was, okay, so there's a problem with, we're having a little setback, so we're going to do, because of the publication, et cetera, we are going to do the public hearing again on the 27th. Okay, Martha said to call her if you want.
Just say it's nothing that it's gonna,
Yes, the
Probably change
Assistant
the
County
outcome.
Attorney, Martha, she said to go ahead and call her if you have any questions. It's just a technicality that's going to slow things up a little bit, and there's some
3 readings?
publications that have to be done. And so we're
No,
having a
it's
public
just,
hearing again on the 27th.
set
of
one
December.
set it, publish it
Okay.
twice.
There's
We
one
send
next year's
out our
down 3
things.
here.
Okay.
Right, yeah, no,
27th
different
it
from
is.
an ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Amen.
it's just a resolution, and then we have the deeds that once the resolution is signed, we go record the deeds, and we're good.
Yeah.
so we can have the public hearing, come out of the public hearing and then take action
Absolutely.
immediately, right?
For sure.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
For sure.
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have to
So let
remember
me
that,
know
but
what that action needs to say in the or not in the minutes, but on the agenda, would you please? Will do. Thank you.
Any other comments?
No.
We do have a public hearing open, so anybody who wants to talk in regards to the vacation of the
No, I
streets
hear
in
you.
Kenwood.
No, I don't blame you one bit. So anyway,
No.
just plan again on the 27th of December, and I will call you again at that time.
The residents or for the county.
All right. You're welcome.
Yep, I can, because I mean, Martha, correct me if I'm
No
wrong.
problem. You take.
When these
Fine.
towns were incorporated, that was all deeded as a city plat, and now they've unincorporated, this is all came back onto the counties, but it's not on the tax roll because it's in county held property. So we had an individual wanting to sell a residence, but through the process of his property landed on maybe 1 or 2 other parcels that the county owned. So we're trying to, you can't sell something if you don't own it, so we're trying to get that all cleaned up, and which by doing that, we'll put it back on the tax roll to create more tax base for the county, so it's a process that we've been tasked with a different unincorporated area, but at that time, we didn't know what we know now, so I think this might be a mechanism or method to move forward with some cleaning some of these other incorporated areas up, unincorporated areas, so throughout the county, so. And which, by doing this, will facilitate the sale of the property within that Kenwood area right now, so. It's, it's clear back to railroad, when they were granted the easements to build the railroad and establish towns along the way. So some of this has never been platted and there's no deeds to some of this property, is that right?
It was platted, but because the roads have not been used, we literally have a house in the middle of a street.
Right.
And since the street is owned by an unincorporated town, the homeowner can't do anything. So by getting the streets and alleys back to actual people, then they can go and transfer land, they can make proper improvements. And it puts it back on the tax rolls.
And it's a process.
Yes.
It is a process. We started this probably
And Ray said to
last
tell y'all, thank you very much.
spring, late
Yeah, I was
late
gonna say at
spring,
least this
so,
summer.
yep.
But we're getting it,
For sure.
getting it, so.
Thanks, Martha, for
Thank you.
your paying attention to detail. And
Oh,
Yeah,
no
no
problem.
kidding. Hmm.
Is Sherry coming over for the next one?
anything else in regards to the public hearing?
Sherry, for this one.
Motion to approve.
No, we just need a motion to come out of.
I
public hearing.
surmise my
Second.
public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded to close the public hearing in regards to vacating streets in Kenwood. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
That's all we're
All
doing.
opposed? All right. We got about 4 minutes.
Before the big,
Not yet.
is Sherry
There's
coming
Wendy.
over?
Did you guys read this letter from the?
Yeah, it was in your email too. Yeah, last night.
What's your agenda look like?
Discussion with
We have Wendy
Wendy is here.
Mueller's next at 10:15.
right.
Hey, well, she's on, and it's just a discussion, right?
Yeah.
Why not facilitate her and
Yeah, let's do
keep it
it.
rolling?
Keep it rolling.
Wendy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Ma'am.
yep. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for letting me join by Zoom today. I apologize in advance for my voice. I'm a little under the weather, so I normally don't sound so low, but and hopefully I'll get through it without coughing too much. But I just want to thank you for letting me speak today and thanking you on behalf of West Central Community Action for your continued support. We really appreciate your funding that you provide us. It allows us to continue to provide services in Crawford County. We are requesting $4,000, which is an increase of $500 from last year. We have not asked for an increase since 2016, and would just really appreciate any additional funding that you could provide. The funding that you do give us is used for outreach services. That includes admin and indirect costs, any local match, or supports any additional funding needs of programs that we offer in Crawford County. I'd also really like to thank Jerry for being on our board of directors. She does a great job and is extremely supportive. So I just want to thank her as well. You should have a packet of information in front of you that Brittany mailed. And I'll go through that, just highlight a few things for you. First,
We don't have that packet.
Brittany let you down.
Either
oh,
that or the postal,
Usually right on top of stuff too.
either that or the postal service.
well, hold on, let me, yeah, it got
Blame it on
mailed,
the
like,
Postal service.
Brittany, hey, I'm in the meeting. When did you mail the packet? They didn't get it.
Oh, way before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we mailed it before
Like
the 10th. We mailed it the 10th of November.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, thank you.
okay, yes, like,
Yeah, we mailed it the 10th of November.
Jimmy
All
Glass.
right, so yeah, so it looks like this.
Oh, hey, well, that's very nice.
We had that in your packet back when.
And we mailed it, yeah, we mailed it to the county auditor.
On
Yep.
the 15th.
Give us a minute
second.
here.
Okay,
Good thing
that's fine, no problem.
We'll find it.
And if not, we can mail it out again. That's no problem either.
I think Terry thought she had seen it. It probably came so early, they put it in the packet and thought we'd just read it. And I don't even
Okay.
remember reading.
I remember seeing
Yeah, because we mailed it to her.
We'll sort it out.
Okay,
Always easy to blame the postal service. though, so
Oh,
we-
yeah, absolutely.
Here to defend themselves, so let's lay it on to them.
Well, do you want me just to go ahead and highlight the few things, or do you want me to, is that okay, Jerry? Okay, so, and if you don't get it, Jerry, just let Brittany or I know, and we can mail more copies. That's no problem. So sorry
thanks,
about that. So anyway, I'll go over some just client demographics. We served over 500 households. This is for fiscal year 22, which started October 1 through 21 through September 30th of this year. So we served over 500 households, which consisted of almost 1,300 individuals. This is an increase of approximately 51 households over the last year. Of the households that we served, 39% were single households. 53% had an income below 100% of the federal poverty guideline, and 41% were on a monthly fixed income. 43% were between the ages of 18 and 59 years of age, and 51% of client households own or are buying their homes. Moving on to services. So we offer Head Start, which is a program that promotes school readiness for children ages 3 to 5 in low-income families by offering a variety of service like educational, nutritional, health, and social and emotional services. We operated 2 Head Start classrooms, both located in Denison at Imagination Station, for serving a total of 32 children. We also offer Early Head Start, which provides support to low-income infants, toddlers, and pregnant women. We offer a center-based option in Denison, which serves a total of 16 children. We also have the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP, which promotes good nutrition, positive eating habits for children who are in registered child care homes. We had 69 children who were enrolled at 5 home care providers that participated in that program during fiscal year 22. Our low-income home energy assistance program, or LIHEAP, helps low-income households in the payment of portion of their winter heating costs. We had 381 households received utility assistance for a total of over $215,000. They were also approved for 2 supplemental payments, which totaled an extra $113,000, which almost for a total of over $392,000. We also offer emergency crisis intervention payments, or ESIP, which that really helps with furnace repairs or replacements, service continuity, reconnection services. And we assisted 45 households for a total of $35,000. We also received ARPA ESIP funding, which assisted an additional 28 households for $23,000. So for a total of ESIP funding of a little over $58,000. There's also a new program that we were able to offer last year, which is the LIWAP, or the Low Income Home Water Assistance Program. It's a new federal program. So it provides assistance to households with their past due water and sewer bills. In Crawford County, 33 households received this water assistance for almost $10,000 worth of assistance. And then we have FADS, or the Family and Development Self-Sufficiency Program, this program really works with at-risk families who have children are 175% below poverty. And they provide intense case management services to help families on the path to self-sufficiency. We had 13 families in Crawford County that benefited from this program. WIC serves pregnant and postpartum women, infants, and children under 5 who meet income guidelines. We served 594 participants in Crawford County, and approximately over $217,000 of WIC food vouchers were distributed. And most of those are spent at local grocery stores. And then I talk about the, which you don't have, page 7, which shows the program dollars and value that goes directly to clients and local vendors, which totaled over $1.4 million. And then the next page showed the admin and delivery costs, and we want to keep our admin under 5% and delivery under 20%, and we accomplished both of those things, which is 3.28% for admin and 14.84% for delivery. And then just overall summary, we spent over $1.6 million worth of services were provided by West Central Community Action in Crawford County during fiscal year 22. And again, on behalf of myself, the employees and the board of directors, just really appreciate any continued support you can provide us.
Thanks, Wendy.
Yes.
Any questions for her?
No, I will make is we approved $3,500 for you last year and our return was 1.6 million.
That's pretty good.
That
Pretty
speaks
good
volumes.
investment.
Thank you.
I am
you're
concerned
welcome.
about the red cup though. Is that Nebraska Cornhusker Cup there? Where it says
No,
red can-
no. This
You're
one,
safe, we might give you. money.
Hey.
it's Harlan.
Oh,
And now wait a minute, if you look behind me, I'm a Missouri MU grad. I'm the University of Missouri grad. So that's the Tiger. So no Huskers in this office.
Here's the-
All again, Eric.
Damn.
I'm not picking on you because I saw.
Jean's got a question for you, Wendy.
Yeah.
When you were going through numbers, unfortunately, we don't have the packet, which I usually like to kind of follow along. 381 households for heating, is that just in Crawford County?
Yes.
That is, okay, because the other ones you mentioned, Crawford County, I didn't know if that was your. program.
Yes, that's just Crawford County for light heap assistance.
Yeah, 381
All your stats
households,
were
yeah.
just Crawford County, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
The
They're only
statistic-
Crawford County.
All
Yep.
right, perfect, yep.
Yes.
Normally. I read
So,
along
and we
with
did
it.
see an increase in light heap applications last year. I think we'll continue to see at least that or maybe a few more just with the projected heating cost for this year. So hopefully that will get people out to apply who need it. So
Where do they get the applications?
where do you
how-
get, so our outreach office? So people can apply at our outreach office or they can also apply online at our website.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Wendy.
Yeah.
We have two new larger scale daycares in the county now. And I seen where you said you had Head Start down here at the Imagination Station. Have you spoke with either of these new daycares on any of the needs they may have in that regard? Or do
no.
they need to reach out to you? How's that work?
No, because we have our own, we just rent space at Imagination Station. So we have our classrooms are independent of any daycare. So we're slotted for 16 slots for Crawford County. And so we have our own classrooms, but no, we don't really reach, we have our early Head Start, which is also in a separate building too. We rent space for those. So, we usually look at different centers if we need space to see if we can work with different entities that way. But right now we have some really good space located in Crawford County.
Okay.
Didn't they used to have something out of Job Corps too?
Yeah, job.
Hey, Job Corps.
We don't anymore. We used to, but we don't anymore. So yeah, we're slated for, we have so many slots for Head Start. And so those have to be distributed throughout our 10 counties. So.
All right. Did not know how that worked. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. And like I said, we can send you out another packet. That's no problem. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to email or contact me. But I appreciate you letting me speak today. And again, sorry for my voice, but.
We heard you.
You wouldn't have said anything, we would have just blamed it on the connection, Wendy, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Bye-bye.
everything.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
All right.
And you gotta,
6
we
minutes.
gotta go back and do the other thing.
So Charlie, you think that was in our packet a couple weeks ago?
We'll find it.
Oh, no, I think it's 10:30.
Yeah,
God, I don't know. She just been seeing that.
you like me last week, skipping a line.
Yeah. Oh, we're rocking right along here. Like when the plan comes together.
Yeah.
We got 5 minutes. I'm gonna.
Okay. Take an intermission, body break. Go get popcorn if you need it. Jerry, what time do we want to leave tomorrow?
Well, it said they want us there by 10:45. How long does it take to get the gallery? You want to check it out? Or you know how long?
I'm gonna give it an hour, but that's, yeah, probably won't take that long. I don't know, I'm guessing the roads will be good.
I'll check it out.
I can
I'm all about
Google,
that.
you want to meet here and
You going to
leave?
Galvin or-
Do you have your phone out? Can I get Renfro's number?
Absolutely.
Imaging?
What time is that? Galvin,
Uh,
10:30, isn't it?
10:45, she said.
Is
They want us there, but I won't be
269
there.
8491.
You do?
And then if he has any follow-up questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
44 minutes to Galva from here.
So if, should we leave here at, okay, so it said, I was just reading this morning, they want us there at like 10:45. So you just want me to meet, where do you want to meet at 10 o'clock?
You here?
Or are you backtracking, am I, or should I just,
Your house.
how about if I just move you in Charter Oak?
Oh, no, that's fine.
I'll meet you in Charter Oak at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think I got anything planned for tomorrow afternoon over here.
You know,
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Charter Oak meetings.
Yeah, yep, I'll drive from there.
I'll catch you.
Jump in as I drive by.
Yeah. There we go. When you first time, kitchen a ride.
Down rider. Snag her up. And
So I think we have a value to communicate on this. The regulations and what they say and the regulations that we're trying to impose. Oh, I think there's a-
I think regulations are mainly talking about the safety factors. So I think if you take a look at it, I think our best avenue there is to use it for industrial, development and safety factors. I think we'll show the selling it. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
No, I think we still work.
It's coming down.
You know, but remember all this smart. Actually, no, I wouldn't want to talk to you. He said that it's a safety thing. I wouldn't want to talk about that. And show me the story on that they were safety. So we listen.
What? That's the ones that were due in September. That's what they're talking about. It's just $45.
Stipulations were involved.
But when will the fire? July of this year? It just says fire at Chamberlain. Oh, in July, yeah.
Yes, well, I know that.
So Floyd was the barber in Charter Oak for years. So it's their son's daughter that will be. Yeah. He and his youngest brother have
You know, it's
several
also showed us
franchises
what
together.
direction we can go.
Oh, do they?
The one in Audubon, for sure.
That's what I heard.
Harlan,
They used to have one in Harlan, I'm not sure anymore, but.
Where we're pretty stuff.
Close to airports and close
The hospital.
Sixth grade, seventh grade.
And I think the only place we really have to worry about is closeness is around those, by the track.
Yeah, it was just kind
Well, that's, I mean, as far as the development. Yeah, but we're not gonna be over that. Plus we. No, I think we do. I think we go forward. I think we can. This would just mean. Go forward. Let me see, this is- we want some
Terry, did you want?
We just can't get them off the floor.
These things back?
What are they? Are they?
Our city
Really good
center.
morning for donuts.
Did you guys have a copy? Because I do have another copy.
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
And then, King, the guy that did that, the thing with us, can he go back and?
All right.
All right,
Can that guy that made us.
okay. We'll reel this back in. We're at 10:30 agenda item. Peter went down. Tax abatement parcel number regards to the trailer fire that was back in July. So
Okay, so on August 9th, we abated lot 38 per the trailer owner's request because they had a fire. I did not realize it. No one else apparently knew this, but during that fire, there were 2 trailers that were total losses, 36 and 38. I've talked to Dwayne about it a little bit. I've talked to Lois Shook, who's the park owner, and she confirmed that it also was a total loss. So I'm asking the board to abate the property taxes that are due first and second half. Right now, the first half is like $47, and then the total is $89 with the late fee, obviously.
And that's just on the trailer, not on the actual lot part of it, because Paul still pays the lot,
This is just for the trailer.
just for the trailer.
Yeah. And the trailer, the fire was July 15th. The taxes would go through June 30th, but for 15 days, and the $45, it would figure out to be almost nothing. So I was just requesting that we abate the entire amount.
You know, did they put another trailer back up there yet?
I've not heard that they have now. As far as I know, they've not reported anything, so the lot's empty to my knowledge.
Because if they had, would we know or not?
Dwayne would. That's what his job is, to assess it.
Dwayne said that he
Yes,
went out there
nothing to do
just
with
for
mobile
peace
homes.
of mind.
He
just
doesn't?
No,
Recently, no.
nope.
They're like
Yes, that's
starters.
the brown under.
Right.
Mobile homes are a separate animal.
Aren't they like titles to cars? kind of?
And right now I'm in the process of sending out the mobile home park letters. So if anything, at that point, they're sent out twice a year. If there's anything that goes on that lot, then it's the park owner's responsibility to notify us.
Oh, the
Or
part.
they would also come in for title.
Okay,
I mean, so there's a couple of different ways we find out about it.
I would make a motion that we abate that because we wouldn't want somebody to have to pay taxes on something they don't have. A trailer.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I'm just figuring for
moved and
that,
seconded. Go ahead, Jerry.
for that 15 days they lived in it, the taxes would be $3.70. That wouldn't be prudent, in my opinion, to even go after that.
That's what I thought.
And the other thing to keep in mind is mobile home taxes are always current. When you pay your property, they're behind. Mobile home taxes are current. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
I always appreciate your back knowledge on everything.
That's why it's only 15 days,
Right.
July 1st to July 15th, the day of the fire.
Recommended.
Additional question?
I'm just thinking this through.
Go ahead.
I don't see a problem with this. Did they come and initiate this conversation or did you?
They got a notice, they got a late notice.
Yep.
And because of that notice, they came in and said we shouldn't have to pay. And we're like, well, we don't know unless you report
Right.
that stuff.
That's
So
my,
that's when they came in.
It's like a car. So if your car got wrecked,
They turn in the plates.
Turn in plates.
Mhm.
Did they turn in the plates? There a plate on it?
There would be a title on it and they have not turned that in yet, but the trailer's
Should
not
we think
there.
about telling
It's not
them when they
there.
bring in the title and junk it, then we would abate it.
Yes, because otherwise we could end up like we did out at.
Yep. yep.
So
out
my
there at that
problem-
Trailer park
yeah.
out there.
Have them come. bring
My
their title
problem
in
with
and
that
junk
is
it.
we didn't
With
do
the
that
two
with the
guys.
one
Let
that we
this
just
motion fail.
abated.
Well,
So we're not
two wrongs,
treating,
two wrongs don't make a right.
we're not treating the one like the other because.
See if you can get a hold of the other one too, get a hold of that title.
Sure, we're going to, I just didn't know if we wanted to make that a
We
requirement
can
because
take
we,
action today pending the.
And have it
Do you want me-
amended
do you
to where, on the stipulation that they bring in the title.
Right.
Do you want me to amend my motion
Please.
pending?
Yeah.
The title being surrendered?
Correct, or a junking certificate being issued.
We just don't want to end up with a bunch of that trailer houses that are, I was at the fire, I don't believe it'll get rebuilt because it was beyond rebuilding, but we had the same issue a couple years ago out there at Sunset or whatever, Country View, whatever that was, where they were bringing, people were living in trailer houses that were, had a junk
Junking
certificate.
Right,
Really?
Yeah.
yes.
so my question,
why
can
we-
we do
that's what I'm
that
trying
going
to do.
forward?
Oh,
Because
boy,
like I
I
said,
don't know
the
that.
property right
Alarm.
next to it that was on fire, we did not require
Right.
that.
Do you know who they are? Would you mind writing them a letter and trying to?
I will write both of them a
Right,
letter
and
and just
say-
asking if we can abate this one and then start that other
Please.
for anything future.
I think that's a good point. is
That's a good point.
To do,
Because the one that was on 38, we just abated without making that requirement, so.
So where is that title right now? Do they probably just have it? and-
wasn't there some shenanigans going on out there where they were titling using, weren't they moving titles? It was a mess at that
They were
time out
fixing
there, right? Wasn't it? They were using titles on trailers that they weren't,
Oh, it was a total disaster.
Oh, brother.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But these,
Can I
I tell you,
rescind my
what,
motion?
Well,
the
I
uh,
get your point too. It's just.
I do.
county
Let it
has
fail.
done a tremendous job with cleaning that park up.
Right.
It's
I'm just-
never been better than what it's now, you know, what they've got into it now. That's Country View out there. Yeah, it's amazing. We have owners are from California, and they put some money back into it as a.
Is she amended or you want to let the motion fail?
I'm good either
I think
way.
she's just amended.
I'll amend it,
To
surrendering the title.
Abatement
upon the junking certificate.
Yeah.
So then we're not treating 36 and 38 alike.
Two wrongs don't make a right. I like that saying.
If I would have thought of that
Right.
back when we did 30. the
Right,
other one, I
exactly.
would've had the
That's why I was
same.
asking if we could
Exactly.
do that on anything
But-
future.
But
if we
see,
could
if
clean
you
this one
can,
up.
if you wouldn't, please see if you can't get the title back on that.
Yeah, try to, on the other one.
Just say, hey. you know,
So how long
taxes-
are we gonna wait? Are we just not gonna abate them until we get it back, period?
Write them a letter, give it 2 weeks, see what happens.
Tell them we need
Bring
to
it
do
back.
that. And then it's abatable. And it can be
And
abated.
just, the other thing I would caution them on, make sure, like you said, is it a total disaster? Because anytime you get a junking certificate, people need to understand that's like a death certificate. It's done, finished, and that was the problem out there, like Kyle talked about. Yeah, the fellow who owned it, Russ, he would bring in all these mobile homes that had been junked, and you aren't to rehab them or anything, they're done.
I feel like these are gone, like the slab is empty
Okay.
from talking to Lois. That was my understanding.
See if you-
Well, I believe that to be true, but as protecting ourselves
Yeah.
from.
Right.
And it
Future
cleans your
disasters,
record up,
is
too.
trying to clean something up.
Didn't you used to take them up in Sac
I
County
did
or?
not know, when was that? Was that
Ida
before
County,
Gene?
didn't
Yeah, before you guys were here, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
that's
that, don't you?
I don't remember that, so that's good to know.
Well, I'm sure it was because it
I
was
didn't
probably when Jerry
realize
was
that
treasurer.
trailer houses were
Yeah.
different than.
I did know that.
I mean,
It's too long.
Stands to reason, the license plate. on
Back
it.
in the day.
Okay, so I'm gonna send a letter to both property owners. The one we obviously don't have any recourse because we've already abated.
Mhm.
The second one, I'm gonna tell them that we will abate upon receiving the junking certificate, and then at that time come back in and you guys will
Absolutely.
abate it.
But what's the official name on this?
Junking certificate?
The junking
Uh-huh, the
certificate
junking
or title?
No,
They have to turn the title in to get a junking certificate.
mhm.
Okay.
So I'll ask them. them.
have to come back in because.
We
this
take
is
action on it
pending
today.
that.
So once I get that, then it's a
Okay.
go.
then you're good.
I think
And if I
that's,
don't get it, that's when you wanted me to come back in and talk about it, or we're gonna let it ride?
If you don't get it, let us know.
yeah.
Yeah, there won't be we won't.
There'll be a-
It's worth $89 to them to just to bring the junks or the title in. I would think it's worth $89 to bring a title. in.
Right, or if they can't, guess what? You can get a duplicate title and it would still save you money to do it.
The title could have got burnt up with the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very good point.
Yeah,
But
But
Still
still,
registered
you gotta
see what
clean
you
up.
can do for us,
Closure.
please.
Now we all know.
Yeah, educational today. Look at me.
You're
going back to
welcome.
School all over.
Thank you.
so we have a motion on the table to abate the taxes upon receipt of the title or junking
Upon
certificate.
them.
Turning it in for a
getting
junking certificate.
Yep.
Is my amended motion.
All in favor of that motion,
That's-
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
All right, review and approve of application of wind tower construction compliance certificate. Martha,
Come back up, please.
My day on the Price is Right.
Yeah,
Come on
come
down.
on down. Bill.
Okay, so
You-
board should have received the most recently amended tower certificate, construction compliance certificate. And so I spoke with Dwayne yesterday, and so I was just following up to see if you had any additional questions about that.
I only came up with one thing last night, actually woke me up in my sleep.
Oh,
I don't understand why that would happen, but it did. On our unincorporated,
Yes.
I think we need to define that. If there's less than, I think we need to have like, if there's less than two homesteads, three homesteads, or whatever the board would like, then that's basically, and there's got to be something that actually establishes that as a potential growable community once again, to where it would qualify for the 1 mile setback. Otherwise, I'd like to just look at that as regular county property. Does that make sense?
You
my,
mean, are you talking like, for instance, like Belltown where there's,
Where there's nothing.
oh, there's
two
one house
houses,
there.
there's two houses
Two.
there.
Is there two? Is there two?
So- Yeah, so how
They're
do
not
you,
registered, but
That's,
how do you want to,
that's the
So-
only question I had in regards to this too, is still that unincorporated areas, because you look at Bern. Bonnie's the only one that lives in Bern.
Yeah.
And she'd be considered unincorporated.
Yeah,
and
Yes.
Yeah.
But yet, we have other areas throughout the county that have several houses in a tight, but they don't qualify as in an unincorporated area because it was never incorporated.
exactly.
Correct.
So they would be,
And that is the distinction that Dwayne had, because if you have an unincorporated, it was at some point in the history a corporate town, so that there is a plat. So that's how we could tell where it is, what the boundaries are, when you're talking about the setback for unincorporated, the 1 mile. Someone like Bonnie and Bern, there would be that 1 mile, but then she would also be getting, just as a property owner, if she was within the 3.5 overall,
Yeah.
the 3.5 factor of the overall. So it'd be kind of a double layer, so to
Mhm.
speak. So yes, we can go back and retool the unincorporated, but for the unincorporated, we do have firm boundaries of where these places exist.
So we couldn't establish any new unincorporated.
no,
No, it would have to be a currently incorporated town that would choose to be unincorporated to get a new unincorporated.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody couldn't go out there and build a couple of houses for their kids in a spot and say, hey, I'm in.
no, to be corporate, you have
No,
to
they would-
establish.
They'd have to file a plat, they'd have to go through the various steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
To
You
be
have a mayor and city
That's-
council
that's
with
what I-
their own budget.
I don't want somebody to be able to, like with an airport, I don't want somebody to
take
go
it
out
on
and
the lot?
making a strip on their pasture, and if they're still running cows.
well, you got, they're out there, they're registered and they're using it now and not paying taxes on it.
Right, and that could be something that,
Well, that's what I think we've established, if this
Yeah.
thing with Kenwood works,
Mhm.
I think we'll have to clean a lot of
Mhm.
that up.
for sure.
So that'll take them off the unincorporated area and put them just on tax roll.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
they've
will.
never, they haven't been on tax roll for a while. It's a little 1 acre, 2 acre parcel that,
So you're following, you're tracking where I'm going.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
The only thing I had in regards, do we just strike the unincorporated areas out, that part out? And I'm just throwing it
I
out.
know,
That's a political decision for the board because the unincorporated towns do have filed plats. We can easily identify them on the maps to be able to draw, circles. If there's a company interested in doing business, that's definitely something that they would be able to talk to Dwayne to say, hey, are we within these various zones? It would be more of a political decision for the board as to how many roadblocks do you want to throw up
Boy,
for business?
The wording in there is the authority having jurisdiction, which in an unincorporated area is this board.
This board.
For
So,
sure.
so it's just gonna bring them back to us
Again,
So,
My-
I mean,
my only
we can
thing-
address it at that time, but just.
my
question.
biggest thing is well, since we're on burn, if, let's just say Gosler decided that he wanted to invest some of his money in development there, and you got these people that live in the cities that want to move out into a rural area, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if they wanted to expand some of, it benefits the county to have these places developed. But if there's windmills sitting right there, they're probably not gonna develop there. And that's the only thing that I'm thinking for potential future. Will it happen? Likely not, but I mean, if there's like, if we get windmills there, then it's definitely probably not gonna happen. You see what I'm going for here?
The only thing I'm gonna do to spur that thought process of mine is, what's this little housing development south of town, Riverview, or
Yeah.
that's unincorporated.
Yeah, well, it's a
So we kind of,
vision or whatever.
there's what's 8 houses there
Mhm.
that really would not have the same protection as Bonnie and Burn does.
Yeah.
That's the only,
Yeah,
that's the only thing
It's
I'm,
not an unincorporated, it's just out there.
that's exactly what happened was, somebody just thought, hey, this would be a nice place for some houses.
Yeah.
And it is a nice place. I'm just
Yep.
trying to think this through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, if there's nothing out there, there's nothing out there. But that might be a place to spur development. If somebody was wanting to build little 1 acre horse house, city folks want to move out and have 5 acres for a horse.
You gotta move out, stay living.
So,
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, but
Yep.
they're gonna get the benefit of water, sewer, electric.
out there, they're not in Burn.
That's
Not
true.
burning.
So,
I'm just saying, that's the only reason I considered the unincorporated when we were sitting there doing all this, coming up with it, gosh, it's not fair to say that those aren't developable areas, we just don't know.
Dave, did you?
Yeah, I have a question. So does that mean that the zoning area from year to year is going to change? Say, because you take an area like Kenwood that is vacated, and all of a sudden it's not an unincorporated area, is your map gonna change accordingly?
You would have to, yeah.
Or
They're
if the
updated
area
every 10
becomes
years.
incorporated, then you now have to add that to that. I'm just.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
like
would,
a flexible zoning area.
yeah, this construction compliance agreement would be current with our current zoning maps, right? Because every time a new wind farm wants to come in, they would have to pull this construction compliance agreement and it would follow an updated map. So if XYZ company came in today and pulled this, it would outline current as of today's incorporated and unincorporated areas.
Yes, and
Not-
that's part of the advantage of having the construction compliance certificate monitored through zoning, through the assessor's office, is that the assessor is very much up to date on the, how properties have changed, whether they're corporate limits or unincorporated. So yes, they would be able to get that updated information from Dwayne when they're looking at the process itself.
Good discussion. I'm not saying we have to change anything. I just,
No,
those are the questions that I had in regards to it.
That's what I woke up thinking about last night.
But I mean, this is by far, I think.
It's pretty good.
I think
like
so.
I think it'll work good. I think it shows Crawford County's open for business, but it also gives everybody a seat at the table with a little bit of, everybody's got a little might at the table.
Because right when it came down to the nuts and bolts of our last wind farm talk,
Mhm.
we were able to negotiate through this
Yeah.
Right.
to get both sides
Mhm.
pleased or whatever. I'm not
And that was
completely-
kind of what we, what our final construction agreement was. This might be a little bit more protection than what that was, but everybody was happy with that one. But this one gets all them people at the table before they come to see us.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we were playing catch up on the last.
Oh,
Correct.
terribly. That's what we
And
wanted
that's
to
how
get
we
this
were
done.
able to negotiate
Right.
this,
Hmm.
to find some resolution on that.
Isn't this also a little subject though to the landowner saying, hey, I don't mind them being closer?
They have all right to do that.
Yep, everything's written.
Caveat
very-
that.
Yep,
They have every right to do that.
Yep.
If you want one in your backyard, you say, just put that right here, don't hit my clothesline.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I mean, if
We don't wanna
the
restrict
wind tower turbines wants to come in and offer you the money that your quote unquote property value is gonna be devalued because it's there, but we'll compensate you 100,000 for your $50,000, I'm just throwing numbers out, but and if they would do something like that and they could get that move closer, then everybody's happy, right?
Right.
Except for the next person that buys it, but you kind of knew
Yeah.
that going in.
Yeah, if you're purchasing it, it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty
what you're
obvious it's
buying.
there already, so.
It's not like
But
pipelines.
it was just on that, is there, like Aaron, he just didn't feel like he had a voice at the table. They were just gonna bully him through it. So that's why he came to us. Well, this is us giving everybody else a little bit of a bigger fork at the table to begin with. This isn't us trying to tell people how to live or work. This is us just getting everybody a fair shot.
I think so. So with that being said, is there any further discussion or comments on this, I guess?
I think I'm happy now.
I've got a few things.
Oh,
I'm just here as
I
a
see.
Yolo citizen, although I sit on the variance board.
Yeah.
I'm really, and I was here maybe a year and a half ago and talked about this. When you allow the turbine companies to take their measurements from your foundation of your residence, that's actually allowing the turbine company a say in what you do on your property. Same as our zoning laws do. But the big difference to me, and I'd like Martha to comment on it, is that legal that a private entity like the turbine companies can have that effect or influence on another private person's property? I understand the zoning laws, governmental setup, easy use rules to follow, that would follow, but having two private companies interfere with each other's rights, I question legality.
Here was my thought, because I had the same thing. That's why we went with the 3.5 versus 2.5 for non-participating versus participating. If you give too much say to the person that's a non-participant, you're actually giving him the authority to say what can happen on the participating farmer's ground. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So when we looked at it like that at the 3.5, it gave you more room. And the reason we did the 3.5 versus a set number is because the height of the tower, when you do with the blade at 12 o'clock, I mean, these new ones that are coming are gonna be a lot bigger. So that moves it back even further away from this person's place.
Here's where I'm at with this.
Okay.
I'm, like I said, I'm here personally, but, and the variance board has not met and discussed any of this, so I don't have any capacity on what they think. I'm just thinking they're probably wondering the same things I am.
Okay.
First, legality. Secondly, why isn't it from lot line being draw the line? The whole United States operates on lot lines and no influence from one to the other across. I just think that would be so much easier. And here's where I'm at with this. And the state's in the paper that at your last meeting that you discussed it. When there's a question, well, then it falls on the variance board. Where do we stand with that? I mean, we understand the zoning laws. This gets really gray. So why are all of a sudden we're a judgment on this deal and we don't really have the rules to go by? Like, that's why I'm urging you guys to do this as a board, to do the setback from the property line. It would just eliminate all of those iffies that would come up.
What would be the difference? The
Just the
iffy,
fact that, okay, if I say I have a piece of property out here and I want to sell it, well, there's a wind charger out in back, and if, say you use this line of fire, that this tip point, and this 3.5 setback would come into my piece of property. Well, house sits here, the swing of this 3.5 tip points over here, well, my house is old, and I'd like to set it over here. Well, now I can still set it there, and I understand all of that. But now we have to negotiate some kind of a agreement that this house now is in that line, in that circle of fire. Who's gonna rule on that? And what if something did happen? We are establishing 3.5 times as the safe point, and I think probably 3.5 times as the noise level point. So the chance of something falling that far and interfering into my property would be pretty nil. I understand that, but it's still a shadow when it hangs there. It's something that the turbine companies still have that control over my property. And I don't, as a variance board member, I don't like it. You know, I just don't know. If you can paint all kinds of different pictures on this thing, and different questions will come up over the years, and we have no idea what they are, but I don't know what the answer to some of these would be. You know, it would just be a judgment deal of, I like the turbines and that guy doesn't. So, you know, you're gonna get that point. That's why I'm urging this lot line.
well, I think if you went with the lot line though, I don't know that we'd be able to justify 3.5. I don't
No,
know.
and that was gonna be my comment on this. I understand the distance setback mostly for noise, because I don't think you're gonna have a tip over incident. But we're trying to rule this noise business as something pretty variable. If the wind blowing behind me and away from me, I'm probably not gonna hear the thing at all, but it could be a half mile out, and if the thing is blowing towards me, I'm gonna hear it. The decibel points are gonna rise tremendously. So this 45 decibels or whatever we're come up with as a number, that's gonna vary from day to day to day, and wind change and speed, and I just think forever when these wind chargers and different towers, not just wind chargers, were put up, the idea was as long as the tip point didn't encroach into your property as it fell over, it was okay. Well, doubling that would just make that be safe.
Isn't that the front, center, and sides numbers are, Kyle? You know what I'm talking about? You know, when they talk about the front yard, it's listed on the ordinance. I don't have it in front of me here.
Oh,
But when they're, you know, like distance from the roadways. Up here at the top, you know, you get the front yard, side yard, and rear yard. That's 1 times the 1.1 times the rotor height. So like from a property line, that could be in there. It's from any property line, it has to be that 1.1 at a minimum. You know, I mean, that's that, but isn't that how that reads already? Isn't that from property lines, the 1.1? I know that's from roads and
utilities and those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think it used to be a set foot amount.
Yes, I believe it
So we
was
moved it to
1,000 feet.
a one, you know, a multiplier. So as
0
towers
feet
get taller, they
with
gotta
written
be back
consent
for-
of adjoining property owner. You see what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah.
and it is with written consent. See, and to me, for your board, you know, for your variance board, it's the simple answer is if you don't have the agreement with the landowner, you don't give the variance. You see what I'm getting at? So that's pretty black and white. But if the landowner comes in and he's signed an agreement with the turbine company, then you know, unless you have some other mitigating circumstance, well, it wouldn't be a good idea. I think you could grant it, right?
Here's where I'm at, and I'll just use my circumstance. I have an acreage.
Okay.
And I'm in a wind farm area. And they came a year and a half or 2 years ago and negotiated a deal where they pay my wife and I $1,000 to be a good neighbor. So that's fine. House sits where it is, everything's fine. If, and they're using this 2.5 or 3.5 times 6-point length or distance lake. If I put my home into that circle, that would be from the center of that turbine, 3.5 times that height comes into my property. If I put my home in that, what happens?
Well, wouldn't you know that though, when they come to you? I mean, hey, I've been thinking about building over on that little knob on my property.
Yeah, I understand that. But what happens 10 years from now, or after I sell my property to the next guy and he wants to do something different? Well, we got different people in the game. Draw the property line, it absolutely has no effect. You don't have anybody encroaching into anybody else's personal property.
Do we do lot line?
I don't know. That's, tell you what, you do the lot line thing. I mean, that's
always been the concern though, is foundation versus, even where your
just
sheds
about
sit.
every zoning thing. Because Martha gave me a whole bunch of them to look through. And I Googled looking on more, and almost every one of those darn things had from a foundation of the primary residence. And the ones that didn't have it, didn't have anything.
One of the problems were last time was, somebody had a shop that they spend a lot of time in. And it's, that was so noisy and so awful in there, they couldn't really function because it was, and that's the
There's
concern.
gray
we have.
area,
There's that gray area.
What I'm talking about.
I get you.
We drew the line. It eliminates the gray, it's black and white.
Well, can we be the
Well,
first
okay.
county that does it?
So if I could jump in here,
Sure.
this doesn't have anything to do with foundation or lot line, but the certificate that they're applying for is for the construction only. So once the wind field is constructed, no, they are not going to come back and renegotiate if you want to build your house in a different spot. If you want to build your house in a different spot, you can do that, but there would be no variance for yourself or for the wind company, because this only regulates the actual construction side rather than into the future.
Didn't realize that.
And just with that being said, because I could just see that being a snowball effect, just use Steve, you're like, you settled, you agreed, and then, well, I want more money out of these people. I'm gonna build a new house over here and they're gonna have to come back and renegotiate with me. To where that would just keep or you'd build a shop or whatever, and it's gonna be, I want more money because I'm gonna be in my shop a lot,
I never thought about that aspect of it.
Now, here's what I would like to impose upon you right now. Right now, as we sit here, it's 1.1 times the height from your foundation as we sit right now.
Your property.
From your house, from your foundation to your primary residence. That's what it is right now on ordinance. So you're already getting a heck of a step up right here.
I'm just here trying to eliminate a problem down the
In the
road.
No, I
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
that, yeah.
Put the lot line on it.
It does seem to make it better, but.
My
boy,
argument to that, and I'm not, so you sell your property, but the purchaser won't buy it unless you added another 100 feet over here. Because then that property line changed.
Yeah.
So then you've reestablished that you've moved the goalpost a little bit.
And most time on those deals, people have both eyes open when they're doing that. That's part of the deal. That the power stands there. You'd understand that.
Well, that was the part I brought up earlier. And that was one of the things that Aaron mentioned when they were going to build them ones or they are building the ones in the southwest corner. The southeast corner, sorry. He said it was gonna harm his property value. So that's one of the things you come back and you say, all right, my property value is gonna be depreciated by 30%, just for a round number. Gonna be depreciated by 30% due to this wind turbine. So I want to be compensated on today's market for 30% of what my value of my property is. So you basically can get a return, at least at that point. If ground chooses to keep going up, maybe you try to get more with that's up to you and them though. We're not trying to do the business of it. We're just trying to give everybody here a little bit more of a voice. I get your point. I just don't know.
I just don't want to be, and I'm speaking maybe for the other 4 members of our board.
Sure.
that We just don't know.
I just think to
It
not
would be a concern.
be overbearing on our behalf, I think we'd have to go back and redo our distances from property lines. And the thing is we could make sure that the 1.1 is away from all property lines. But I don't, the 3.5, we wouldn't be able to do that from a property line. I mean, we're taking Crawford County out of the business of wind turbines.
Right, correct. That's right.
So, and I don't want to stop anybody from doing business, because there's farmers out there that want them too. I mean, for as much as some of us that don't.
I want you to understand, I'm all in on the wind charter, the tax relief, everything that goes with it, I'm all in, so.
And I think for you guys though, on the variance board, is if the wind turbine company wants to do this and they don't bring you a signed agreement, it's pretty easy, no variance. You can't build there.
Probably the guideline we'll have to use. I'm just thinking down the road.
Yeah, I
We have no
guess.
idea what the question will be.
And they can always amend an ordinance down the road, if something would, but this is a big step forward for us, I think.
Right now, we have basically nothing.
Yeah, 1.1 times.
And we know we've been talked to by a company.
It will.
Yeah, we know something's coming, so that's the other thing.
It carries on in the next part I was going to talk about, and that would be from, you are putting a 2.5 mile setback for every incorporated town in the town.
2 miles.
2.
Mhm.
And I understand growth, town growth, it's all a factor.
Mhm. And that's the primary factor there.
Yeah, right, I see that. When I'm going back, I'm West Side boy, West Side's been there for 150 years.
Mhm.
It hasn't grown 100 yards from its original deal. Why can't the board allow each individual town council to draw their setback
They get
line
to.
from the deal?
They can approve it coming in closer if they want to.
can.
That's what the variance.
That's where I think that's important to the neighbors of the towns that are there. I think using those numbers that you guys put out, 35% of the county would be exempted from having a wind tower on it. That's a big number. And if you have to think of the revenue that these farmers are getting for each tower that's set on them, $10,000, whatever, $8,000, they're all kinds of numbers. So if they use that 2.5 mile or 2 mile setback, well, it cuts out how many people that we're going to receive the $10,000, which, I mean, it's a deal. It helps the churches and the community clubs and the fire departments, and you just name it. Somebody gets an extra $10,000 for one, and maybe they have 2. That's a lot of money that potentially can get back in the community. I can't see the town of Westside wanting to. I'm just talking out of turn by using Westside, but I'm just use them for example. I can't see them limiting their neighbors that they can't have a tower.
But they can receive compensation to let it be moved in.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm asking is it set in stone that the Board of Supervisors is going to establish that for every town in the town?
It is established that every town can enter into an agreement with the wind company to say that you can come in closer than that. Similar to homeowners, you can have it next to your house if you want it. Towns can do the same thing.
Would it be cleaner if it wasn't this 2 mile setback, wasn't even stated in your part of the agreement, and just let each town have that number set out? And then 2 months, after a couple meetings, they would give you the map and say, this is where we want the limit to be. Once you draw those lines, that's what it is.
The difficult part with that is that the towns have jurisdiction only over their towns. They don't have jurisdiction over the land outside of their towns, which is where it falls into the board. The board acts on outside of the towns, but the ability of each town to be able to say, it starts at 2 miles, we're comfortable with 1 mile. Each town can do that if they want. So West Side definitely.
It would
could
take
make
an
that
action
choice.
of the of the city council to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, and they may have wind turbine company representatives come and approach them to say, hey, we'd like to do this. This is the compensation we're offering the town to help out, things like the fire department. Would the town consider that? Yep, that is definitely a
I'd
possibility.
also like to point out something, that all the towns in 20's not been as, it's not been as big a growth because the towns haven't reached out as much. But you look at Holstein's growth because of the highway. I mean, if we get
Yeah,
Highway
Right.
30 finally done,
Right.
maybe West Side does finally grow. It still depends on you guys and how much you want your town to grow. I mean, the local residents, but I mean, I don't ever want to stop. I'd rather you have a bigger voice at the table now, and rather than, God, I wish we would have did this.
Well, that's why,
You know.
that's why I brought that up.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what our thinking is. I'm trying to, that was what I was thinking anyway, when I had my 2 cents worth of saying this, so.
Well, those are my comments.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you guys for doing this. I hope you come up with work on the numbers and just go from there.
I think the numbers work, and it gives your towns, the voice, what turbine people, they want to come here. We're in that zone. This is a good place for them to build. And the best way for nobody to be unhappy at the end of it is if everybody's got I keep using it. That's where we found our new saying, a seat at the table. We got rid of the wheelhouse and now we're at the seat at the table. To me, that's what's important. I want everybody in Crawford County to be able to be adequately compensated.
I got this one.
Yeah, I do.
Got my last comment is, Eric, you set your hat at a higher place than after last Friday. Does that set on top of the deal now?
I pulled it out of the closet after last traffic.
Well,
I didn't.
blow while you can.
I'm not afraid to wear it.
Good.
I
Thank you.
usually get a
Thanks,
few
Dave.
comments.
Thanks for your comments and your service on the variance board.
Any other comment?
I have a
Dan?
couple questions. In the other information, it's about 2/3 the way down. Setbacks 2.5 times overall height for a participating owner, 3.5 for non-participating owner, and unless written consent of adjacent landowner is retained. I'm just wondering if the way that's worded, it seems like it's worded that the participating landowner couldn't have setback changed for his own property unless the non-participating owner agrees. I mean, it looks like that's the way it's worded.
It does kind of,
Verbiage is gotta be more clear.
yeah, you read that through, it kind of does make sense what you're saying.
Oh, unless,
Which you could leave it as is, or you could change it.
I think the way I take it, maybe what Dan's trying, is that you're participating landowner. The way this sounds is that it's gotta stay at 2.5% setback unless that guy over there says it's okay to move it closer to my own house and I'm already participating.
Right. That's
So
just the way it looks
it,
like.
maybe it should just say consent is obtained to go closer. Maybe just that way.
Setbacks at 2.5. I see where you're going.
yeah, I do too.
2.5 times overall height
Consent
from
is
participating.
obtained, just take out of adjacent landowner is.
Because that's putting a disadvantage to the.
I think
guy
you
who
just
wants
basically put them in 2 different sentences.
Or, yeah.
You see what I mean?
Sure.
I mean,
it's-
you're the clerk, you're the one that does lawyer speak. I mean.
Thank you. Yes, I did have training in lawyer speak. So it's up to the board as far as much of a voice you want to give to that adjoining landowner. So if you have a homeowner who wants to put the turbine closer to their residence, like Kyle was suggesting, and the adjoining landowner for whatever reason says, we're not going to consent, then the adjoining landowner would go to the Board of Adjustment and ask for a variance.
Can I paint a picture quick?
Sure.
Yep.
Way I read that, after you pointed it out, is you got a square section. You got one house in the middle of this square section, so no matter how many you multiply it, 2.5 is only gonna reach that far. The way I read that is this guy over here is gonna have to give consent for this guy to put that tower right next to his house.
Correct.
Is that how I read that?
Yep.
But it does not even reach 3.5 is only here. So I mean that, you're giving this guy a seat at the table for this guy.
Right.
By that other information.
It does. In that instance, it would be very easy for the Board of Adjustment to grant that variance since it makes no difference to the property there. But it then also protects you in the reverse situation where if you have the adjoining landowner similar to what Aaron did, but if you have that landowner, that primary landowner say, you know, I'll have the tower, but I'm going to scoot it as close as possible to my neighbor. And then that's when you have Aaron saying, wait a minute, when you scoot it as close as possible to me, you are very close to me, but it's still on your property. I'm not going to consent to that. And then when it's brought to the Board of Adjustment, then it's a much closer call as to, you know, it's not just affecting the middle of my section, it's materially affecting my neighbor.
Yeah, I don't think we're connecting.
Sure, yes, we can definitely.
Yeah, I think what.
I can definitely change it. That's
His
not a problem.
his 3.5 point reaches that far.
Okay,
So I mean, he's on a hill, we got a perfect spot for a tower right there, and he's okay with that. But this guy only, his 3.5, according to ours, only reaches that far, so why should he have to sign, this guy sign off that it's okay to build a tower?
For that
over here?
2.5.
Closer to that 2.5. That, I think.
The
is that-
landowner that wants to build a tower shouldn't have any say on the 3.5 of the other fellow, the non-participating. And the non-participating shouldn't have any say within the 2.5 of the, you see where I'm going?
Sure, yeah, we can add that clarification.
That's-
If you
and I
are
think that's-
outside that 3.5, your consent doesn't matter anymore.
I think it's important to,
Sure.
because that particular
That might be
scenario.
where the variance board needs that.
Thank you for the drawing.
It's not to scale.
I noticed that also.
I think I see where they're at on that. Do you think you see the same thing?
Yes, I'll get a draft together and get it out so you guys can
I think
review.
it just makes that more clear. We haven't even adopted it. There's already.
Question.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. Thanks.
Is that the answer you were looking for? Or?
Yeah, and then the other thing is, what is the enforcement action on the decibel levels? Say they build it and then consistently get somebody out there with a meter and it's 47 decibels, it's not 45 decibels. What's the enforcement on it?
So this as a construction compliance certificate, they're constructed, compliance is done. So there's nothing on that side. However, when it's built, they have an easement for entering. So if the easement itself contains any type of enforcement language, we would first look to that. If there's nothing in the easement, then we would just look at like a breach of contract type of action.
And they'd have to quit using it.
That would
Up to a
come out
judge.
as part of the
Oil.
lawsuit itself.
Could be taking the bolts out of the blade. We've heard of that before.
Yeah. No, good point.
So,
I think there's a couple revisions that minor.
They've got legal ground to go after the fact that they're over 45, so they can take that to a judge.
For sure, they would, yes, because they're probably irritated about a few other things as well.
Probably.
Anything else that we can proceed at this point in time?
Table it until next time.
Craig or Dave, and you guys are gonna be. All right, let's make them adjustments and email them out to us. Thanks, Martha.
Thank you
Thanks.
for everything.
We hate taking up your court.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go to maybe a little less questionable deal, extending the fire ban for Crawford County. Greg, I tasked you with reaching out. half and half. I'm in. No, I don't know. We'll never know how many fires that we stop by having a burn ban in place.
No, the house that burned down the night, it was an abandoned house. I assume we discussed that this morning. What they ended up doing was moving a bunch of trees over.
We've reached a point where I think our citizens are like, all right, guys, we were participating, we were.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's the phone conversation I had last night. At that point, we had not received any moisture, and yet, even though we won't amount to much if we get some hot, dry days yet by the end of the week, but
You don't like it that way.
the fire danger is still there. But I think we've reached a point to where
Only two in western Iowa that are still active.
I just received a lot of calls saying, you know what, we're gonna be responsible about it. We're not gonna stop them anyway.
No.
Apparently not.
No.
No.
All we're doing is tying the hands of those that are responsible. The irresponsibles are still, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say necessarily irresponsible, but because
Uninformed or
or
irresponsible.
whatever, yeah. So,
Can you, I mean, do you want to do it where you get the chief thing yet, or?
Well, Tyler, that's
Fix
always
mine.
been what we've tried to do
And there-
for years, is let the fire chief know, and let the comm center know. And then she'll put a page out, or he'll put a page out, whoever happens to be working, that will go over our walkies and our pagers that the control burn at such and such an address. That way, when someone's driving by and they give a call, there's a fire over that direction, we know there's a control burn.
Yeah.
And the dispatcher does too.
Yeah.
And chances are they may send a deputy out that, but it's just prudent to be smart and not be burning when it's below 100 miles.
Right.
yeah, originally back in October or September, late September, when we initiated the first one was, you know, we're really using the crops in the field as our main catalyst to
Protect it.
push that through. And I think we've reached 100% harvest, well, maybe 98%. I'm sure there's still an out there yet somewhere, but
2 or 3 spring
We
harvesters.
should probably stop it.
I think I was gonna suggest that we just,
Oh, yeah, you go ahead then.
You suggested.
my suggestion would be just to let it run its course and not reinstate
Yeah,
it.
I'll give it to the fire marshal. She was.
Let it expire.
Let it expire.
Okay.
Yeah. let
And it expires
She's
today,
done.
correct?
Yep, it
Yep.
expires today, so. That'd be my suggestion.
Okay.
Do we need to take action?
No, we don't have to take any
Just let it
action
expire.
because when we voted on it on 1st of November, we said that it would go until the 29th of November, so. No action be taken.
Sounds good to me. I'd
That's
still
not
ask
saying
you
we
to put
can't-
out there on your message boards, please, even if you are,
Use
Yeah,
extreme
there-
please
caution.
contact
Terry
your
sent me some really good ones from the other counties. I'll dream one up from all those.
You know, extreme caution still needs to be
Yeah.
exercised
Yeah.
when burning, open burning, and they can be reinstated real quick.
Absolutely.
things get crazy. You got stuff that, don't let it sit overnight and let embers get blown down the road in the morning, so.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. Cell Site Solutions LLC contract. Martha, hey, how are you?
Welcome back.
I know, see.
Oh, no, no.
Okay. The contracts were sent out to all of us in regards to the purchase of the
Shelters?
shelters. So with that being said, I mean, I just reading through there, I had a couple questions in regards to that, but I mean, don't want to hold up process, but they're charging us $500 a piece for lifting brackets, so can't we reuse?
No,
the
we can
ones?
say, well, again, we'll get reimbursed when they get them back. It's basically a
Oh, it's
deposit.
a deposit, okay.
It's
Oh, that makes, well.
a 30-day return.
There are 4 on the one down.
If we have to, I'll drive them back.
Or
Right. Well, I just,
They're down
why
below,
can't we just use the
crane
same one?
lift up there.
If they're just a deposit.
It's a deposit we pay for up front. We don't bring them back, so I assume people haven't brought them back.
Probably less
The
fine.
Delivery fees, can we still say, hey, you know what?
You know what, and I don't have a solid answer to that, but I remember discussing that, and they said if you had your own equipment, you know, and I don't know if Mike got that, is that worked into the contract where we can bring our own truck?
He wasn't-
I
he
know
wasn't
we have
certain.
to supply our own crane,
And, yeah,
but I don't recall saying anything about
Let
the
me call
truck
Paul.
itself.
He was just stick his head in there.
Yeah.
Let me just
Yeah.
call him.
Paul did
yeah,
just-
call and ask him before we talk to Mike.
Paul was just up here, so.
He
Yeah,
just wants Kyle to come closer.
yeah, but I wasn't thinking about this yet.
I'll call Mike while you're talking to Paul.
I just had a question for you.
So this all expires tomorrow.
If you could, yeah, yep. Yep,
It's
perfect.
only good to tomorrow.
He's gonna come up quick. That's the only thing I would.
The quote expires tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So day after tomorrow will be 125,000.
Mike, Mike.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
But other than that, Mark, other than these things I brought up, it all looks good, right? You had some
So
things
much
change.
better. Yeah, so much better than their first draft. And they're also getting antsy about prices going up, so.
So that this
So,
expires
I'm
tomorrow.
guessing Paul,
Volunteered you for something, Paul.
It's on-
Yeah.
on there, but they
Oh,
also
He's
said
gonna
it-
run now.
Don't be shy. Also said the previous one. expired.
we're looking at the contract of purchasing the shelters for our tower sites, and the contract states $5,000 delivery fee per shelter from Cedar Rapids, and I didn't know if I just feel we could do that a lot cheaper in-house.
Hold on a second.
But you're the one who has the
Hold on.
trucks and trailers.
Yeah.
They're 60,000 pounds each.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was gonna say is, permitting and.
You have to
and
permit too?
Size and.
Our county has to permit as well.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so it might be.
These are the
500
questions I
might
had
be cheap.
in
Yeah.
regard to this. So I mean, if
We
you
have the
say,
same laws as everybody as far as, we're supposed
Oh,
to.
you're exempt.
That's only if we're in, so like today, so,
Okay,
but otherwise.
And the loading
yeah,
and
we do
unloading
everything else out.
process
It's
then?
just a matter of the size of it, the weight, and the dimensions, and what we have to do for permitting, and whether we got trailers suitable, to haul, and that sort
yeah,
of thing.
and then the insured through them.
Yeah, 60,000 pounds.
Okay,
yeah. That's
By
my,
12.
the only other question I had.
so the $500 it basically protects that, that shelter all the way here.
Okay.
That's how much, $500 for shipping is what it said on the.
5,000.
5,000, you gotta say 500. Yeah,
For
500.
500.
$500 for rent. That will get that.
Does that include somebody setting it off? too?
No.
Just-
No, we're gonna get a crane, cranes are big enough.
Yeah.
You get cranes over there.
What's that?
You
I got
get
that
cranes
part.
over there.
They got cranes
Yeah.
to load.
Barnard crane.
They have- that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they got cranes that load.
They have cranes to load.
Honestly, we don't get them all here.
Yes.
so, yeah, they're trying to-
But I wanted to ask you if we could do that and they just subtract.
What
Yeah.
would you, I mean, you're permitting, you're probably smarter
Well,
than
it's
I.
not gonna be just that, I mean, we have the annual permits, we gotta get to all of our semis for
Yeah,
oversized. I just don't know enough about it right now to
Yeah.
know for sure. It's not gonna be terribly expensive to get the permit, you just gotta have it. Because we state
Yeah,
highways,
which-
other than when they get in county.
we could probably run up to
Crane
3
here
trucks,
to
but
set them off.
I'm not listening to both here.
So they charge from the point of leaving, you may wanna have 4 semis show up with 4
That's the next question I want.
units and,
Yeah,
and
we'll have to
because
do
your
that
grain
one.
costs are
Okay.
gonna be offset that.
All right, thank you very much, but hold on.
Another
there.
question.
What?
The crane for offloading, I mean, is that something that you want to
I'm putting you
orchestrate?
on speaker.
Mike, hey, it's Kyle here. I just question the offloading of these shelters on our sites. Would that be coordinated in a way that we'll have all those shelters here on the same day to where we're not
You were
paying
just
for?
telling me that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's the plan. That's what we strive to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
One crane.
And then the generator is it
One
60
crane
60
moving
some
to
months,
the
or
4
is it
different
60
sites,
something?
moving the shelters typically all in
Oh,
one day. That's typical. Sometimes it's gone to 2 if a truck is delayed for hopefully damn good reason, or weather, or the ground's too soft and you have to do something that takes more time, but
Yeah.
we did Mahaska pretty much in one day.
Okay.
And if we're doing it through in the frozen season, we should be pretty good other than the storm.
We should
Poor
be
man's concrete.
real good, yeah.
The other thing on them contract, it said 67 weeks. Is that right? Months.
Weeks.
Weeks.
No,
It's six, or is it supposed to be 627? There's a dash missing.
yeah, probably 6 to 7, but I can confirm that, but the shelters are, all as Ty could attest to, exist. They're ready to be worked on. We could get a firmed up completion date once we know that the deal is real.
Yeah, and this was about the generators is what it said, 67 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Those are very long-term items. But we did that in Mahaska again as well, and we do everything except the generators show up later and get installed and optimized once they arrive.
So that could be 67. Is 67 the actual number then? So it could be
Over a
a year and a half?
Could be, but it's getting better, they say, but that's what they had at the time they
So the
put this
railroad
together.
goes on strike.
Oh, my. Okay, well,
The price we pay for having a COVID outbreak.
lovely. All right, well, there's any other questions, guys, for
How can it continue to grow?
No, I don't have any questions. Those are the ones that hit. Were on my radar, so.
okay,
Thanks, Mike.
thank you.
If something comes up, let me know. We'll talk anytime. I'm driving on my way to Nebraska right now. I'm gonna be up with Ray. Yeah, yeah, we're going to Wahoo, Nebraska. So it all fits together.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so, I mean, is that 15,000? Is that something your department would want to mess with? I mean,
Well, I mean, again, you know, the crane cost, because we could.
we got paid that
We
regardless.
gotta pay that regardless.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just, you know, then it'd be a matter of lining up multiple trucks from our guys and, you know, going over there.
Do we have enough equipment to have them all sitting on site?
We've got 3 low boys, that flatbed trailer, I just don't know that drop deck, if that's heavy.
Are they gonna come and get the one that's here and go get it?
No, we gotta do that. We're counting on us to move. the one
Why don't
that's
we
here.
just,
I mean, we could certainly consider it.
That one's a lot
I just don't know
lighter,
enough
though.
information about
Right.
it, you know?
I appreciate your honesty. I just,
Yeah.
it was a question I had in regard to this. I'm not against approving the contract today, but.
Yeah.
We wanted to know if you could save us money. That's what we were after.
Well, I think there's certainly potential there, I just.
I mean, if you gotta get permits and you really figure your man hours and depreciation, you know, I mean, you probably, I mean, would it save half as much or?
What is it, Cedar Rapids?
So basically 7,500.
Miles,
What?
200 miles from Cedar Rapids. from-
Yeah, just call it 4 hour drive, 3 hour, 3.5 hour drive.
You know, yeah, I mean, yeah, we could do it for a lot less than 5,000, I'm sure of that.
Per unit, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's 5,000 per unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
But, you know, the other thing is though, just thinking this, if we're planning on doing this in the frozen season, which means snow is always a possibility.
Yeah.
So we got the crane coming on the 17th and it snows on the 17th. Our guys are all committed to plowing snow before we're worrying about setting shelters.
So you're probably not setting shelters either, you know?
But if it's
Yeah,
if it's a light snow or
Yeah.
whatever, to where we still need to be
yeah,
running our roads.
yeah, I mean, it's.
202 miles.
So I'm guessing,
Yeah.
We could be complicating it for 15.
well, it's
Over-
possibly, you know, I mean, in a perfect world, it all works out, but
Nice sunny January day, everything's good.
you know, or is it
She
March
told me that.
19th of 2020 or 2019 to where we just, it's raining and snow's melting and,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the other issue too is comes in the logistics of who coordinates with the crane, and I mean, if you've got a fixed price, you know, and that includes the crane. then
I
there's-
suspect that
you don't-
Ray
yeah.
and Mike will take care of lining up the crane and
Yeah.
coordinating everything if
Yeah.
we do it that route.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, it's just a matter of making everything, you know, communicating, making all the pieces fit together on the right, at the right time, so.
This tower project's going, it don't,
So the insurance on the buildings.
nothing's,
Something
nothing's
happens to
easy.
the building
Yeah.
while we're
Well, now, that's the
transporting.
thing is
the
if something
insurance.
happens to that building en route, now, when it gets here, that crane's insurance picks up any damage. The crane here, that crane company would have insurance for damage created on the offload. But in that 15,000, you'll actually have them 3 towers are basically protected. You know, where it wasn't gonna cost us to repair or replace if they got damaged in
And
roof.
if something happens to Paul's trucks.
Yeah, if something would happen, we're kind of SOL.
Yeah, that's part of doing business.
It's part of doing business. I mean.
I think we just go ahead and
It's county property. You know, so I mean, it would be covered, I'm sure, under our general liability.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a good, it's a good query. I mean, we're supposed to be trying to find ways to save money.
The quote's good till tomorrow.
Yeah, we gotta get this out.
Scary part.
Yeah. But I think that if we decided we wanted to try to do this, they would probably do something else. That's the way Mike's,
I think we just approve
Give us a
it.
few days to look into it.
just approve it as is.
It wouldn't hurt anything.
Approve as is, and if Mike's correct, that we say, hey, you know what, we're gonna haul them.
Yeah.
I'll just take that money off.
Yeah.
Do we need to sign those there?
Can I ask you what happens if it takes 67 weeks for the
does.
generator? Are we
Yeah.
just,
Well, it's gonna take,
We're at the
whether it's us or
mercy of
them.
Mother Nature until then.
wow.
I mean, that's
I was
not,
hoping that
it's
there should be a
nothing.
dash in there,
Me
67
too.
weeks is
Yeah.
completely different than 67.
That unfortunately is just the world we live in at this time, you know,
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna go get Kyle's Honda.
little Honda generator.
Put something in.
I guess.
Keep a little
We can always sell them again, right?
So,
Perfect, thanks, Paul.
yeah,
I'll just.
1 o'clock, we're still.
Yep, we're good, down conference room.
Assuming we're done.
Yeah, either here or down there. Yeah.
Just for you.
Okay, let me.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
it's okay. Any other in regards to the contracts?
No, it's way back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve
I'd make a motion.
those contracts as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the purchase of tower shelters. The contracts presented to us. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed. Okay, all right.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you. Thanks for,
We appreciate your due diligence on all the contracts we keep coming up with.
There are 4.
yeah, I'm just, why are there 4?
Because the other one's for the rebuild on the one here.
Oh, okay.
It's-
They're gonna come
it's-
get that one, Jackson.
No, they'll do it
Rebuild
here.
on
So they
site.
do it here?
They comes here to do it.
It's like the last page, I
Okay.
think, of every.
Yeah, we'll have to move it. We're responsible to move it ourselves.
Right,
All right.
So that's why we want to coordinate that truck
right.
and have one of our trailers there that day. So maybe get all that done the same day.
We need them all set the same day.
Yeah.
Buyer.
When they get done with that one, it should look like these other ones look like new. It should, for the most part. I mean,
For what they cost.
yeah.
Looks like I'm the only signature needed, Greg.
Okay.
Any other business that needs to come before the board at this time? Any citizens input?
You feel the.
Tim?
I'm just interested to find out if there's any more information on the progression of the CO2 ordinance.
We did discuss a closed session last week after you guys all left, and I don't know the liberty of what we can talk about at this time.
Due to ask, what is the concern of, are we still on target? to
Martha,
get
I mean,
something,
you
or
were-
are we gonna wait till?
Do we dare elaborate on what we discussed last week? or-
I can talk about what's publicly filed.
That's what we need. Get us out of
How
trouble.
about if we let you speak on our behalf?
So, of concern to the board when looking at any type of ordinance are the 2 federal lawsuits against Shelby County and Story County. So those are on file in the Southern District for Iowa, so they are available to you. But the nature of those lawsuits is such that the board, before making any decisions, will need to consider what they want to do.
So we're letting Summit go, yes? Because they're threatening the lawsuit.
They actually already filed lawsuits against Shelby.
Need somebody to roll on?
Supervisors and Story County
Huh?
supervisors.
Yes, how much do you anticipate that a lawsuit would cost?
So those are filed in federal court, and while I used to have a license to practice in federal court, I don't, and I know our county attorney Colin is not licensed in federal court, so the county would have to hire an outside firm who is licensed to practice and is able to handle this type of lawsuit. Typically, federal attorneys start at the $10,000 to $15,000 retainer and go up from there.
And if we lose, we pay for theirs too.
Possibly.
Well, that's the way it reads on them lawsuits that are already filed, so I would assume they do the same. We're just doing our due diligence. It ain't like we're blowing it off.
But if we wait, then that window of opportunity is gonna be gone.
That's, the question is it already?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the real question. And I'll just use the wind turbines from the southeast corner of the county when we started doing that. They'd already invested a ton of money. They could take us to court over all of that. Plus, our farmers could have took us to court because they already had the money. So that could happen in this. I don't know that it would. I don't know who's got money. So all those things could actually happen. So that's all stuff that we have to take into consideration. Now, this isn't really everything we talked about, but it's other things that I've looked into. So I'm not involved in what happened last week at all. But those are the considerations court-wise that we have to worry about. You know, I mean, as far as time frame, you know, there's a good chance we're already out of the window that we can create an ordinance. Then what ordinances can we create? I mean, you know, I mean, on the safety aspect, they're implying in their docket, it's already filed that there's things out there that they're already taken care of on the federal and state level that we can't overrule. So, I mean, there's all that research that's got to be done. And then there's the aspect that I'm worried about as much as anything is is this stifle our potential for growth? You know, having this pipeline, you know, if it's too close to an area that we want to develop, will we be able to develop it? And all those different questions, you know, I mean, that to me is probably a big loggerhead in this too. And sadly, we probably should have been working on this 2 years ago.
But
who knew?
Who knew, yeah.
Yeah, but who knew?
And no one else did either.
Yeah.
And that's why I said sadly, we should have been working on this, but who knew? Yeah.
So when the discussion has been brought up to a reputable company,
Yeah.
just so you know from my aspect,
Yep.
this valve station is forecasted or planned to go on my property. When someone was here, they just said it was on our avenue. Well, in further investigation, they knew that as of July 20th. It was filed with IUB August 9th. Our contract letter for the easement was drafted on the 22nd of October, and I'm just getting it as of this last weekend. I'm sorry, I don't know that that's real reputable business when you have representatives and they say, well, these are just things that came up. When they knew about them 4 months earlier, I think they're kind of duping us in thinking that, oh, everything is going to be just wonderful. And why we initially had a pumping station, and then when that concern was brought up, oh, then we're going to get rid of that pumping station now.
2 valves instead.
Pardon?
They're gonna have 2 valves,
Correct.
which still. nobody knows. But you can be sure that when they started this whole thing, the money that they're getting from the tax credits is going into the lawsuit. So the federal government is giving them money to fight us.
Absolutely.
So just think about that.
I mean, we've got the feds dangling the carrot to do this type of stuff. And I guess I've yet to see research and proof that it's really gonna do any good. I think we're giving a lot away to these people that are just going to be making more money off of our tax dollars.
What will happen when tax credits go away?
Yeah, he said this morning. I doubt that they'll be doing that, but guess what? We'll still have the pipeline in our ground that we've got to deal with. And they're gonna have an easement till the end of time.
You know where the other valve is gonna be, the other shut off valve?
Pardon?
You know where the other shut off valve is gonna be?
I believe it's up on N Avenue.
North of town,
There's one.
yeah. North and south of town.
I know they usually try to block them off on the railroads, on the side, because they have to shut it down.
One in the vicinity you're talking about on your property potentially, right? On R Avenue, and then the ones up on N Avenue. Looks like it's 240th.
Oh, I see, okay. 70%. Show the gun.
Harris.
Does this one have the valves on it?
Yep, or the red tech with little red bow
The
tie.
little red spots, unless you're colorblind.
See 'em?
Ah, those were the people that hadn't signed that were here.
I didn't
Oh,
see
those are
that.
the valves.
Those are the valves.
They finally put them on there.
I know we haven't given up. We're just,
We've got a lot of questions yet. I mean, just like the Highway 30 development. I mean, this is something we're paying for a study to do. Obviously, it's important to our area. Never mind just our county, but our county in particular too. What do we have to do to be able to work with them on that? Is that somewhere they'll have to come and bridge their pipeline so it doesn't interfere with the construction of an interstate, or is it gonna cost the highway state a lot more money to get across this pipeline? Yada, yada. Remember, even things like that, we're asking questions about, but they ain't got answers.
I think it was stated earlier, we don't know what all the answers are, because we don't even know what questions to ask
Yeah.
on a lot of this, so. As far as filing our ordinance, I would say that could be done in a matter of, it's ready to go, we're just kind of waiting to see how the other things turn out.
Tim, if we don't do it right, they're gonna put a stay on it, and then it's useless. And we end up with a lot of lawsuits. So I mean, Martha's trying to get this thing right for us. Her and Cullen are working on things. And that's why we're trying to see what the whole story is with what they're doing to Story County and Shelby County. All right, they're arguing safety primarily, isn't that correct?
Yes and no.
I mean, isn't that how it's worded in there?
Sure.
Well,
Let's leave it, we don't wanna.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much.
reach our session.
I don't know what I can or can't say, but I mean, there's things that we've been talking about for a long time already, you know, so. What's the most important aspects and all that?
I guess from my point of view, my opinion is that if we wait to play it safe and this thing comes through, then whatever time and effort and so forth you spent on it, it's null and void. Because you didn't get in before they were permitted or.
See, that's the thing is, and I'm trying to impress upon you, is I think it's already past that get in. I mean, I know everybody has some imaginary red line in the sand that's out there, but I think that we're already in, because the process has already begun and they've already got all these landowners signed.
Well, okay, but from my perspective that's just poor business on their side. If they didn't get this thing approved through the county before they started going out to the landowners and giving them the money for the easements and all that kind of stuff, that's tough. You get your ducks in a row, you do business right, and then have the approval. I mean, it just blows my mind away that they came back in after you and said, oh, hey, this is what we're doing in your county. And we have the proverbial tail wagging the dog.
And then they use how much money they've already spent.
Well, that's their problem. I don't care how much money they spent, but apparently if they got that much money to throw around.
What you and I care about and what a judge cares about is the difference.
Well, but
It's affecting us personally.
that we
You
have
gotta
to
look at
take a
it from the
stand
legals.
At some point
Because if we say, oh, we're gonna get sued and we roll over,
Suing's not that's not my biggest concern here. My biggest concern is if we create an ordinance, it's just gonna get a stay put on it. We just will not have one.
but
Correct.
that's what we're doing now. If we don't go further.
We're working on that. We
Well, I
just
guess-
told you, we can't talk about some of the stuff we discussed last week.
I guess what we're trying to say is we're following our legal counsel's advice at this time. Tim, and unfortunately, it's probably not what you want to hear, but we've got two attorneys that sit in this courthouse to advise us what we should do and what we shouldn't do, to keep us out of a spot we shouldn't be in. So presently, we're following their advice. We've got stuff in play that we were just following legal advice.
I'm not gonna. Thank you.
Anything else? Motion, Jerry?
No, I did get that report from Brittany down at WCCA. I have forwarded that to you and
Went over.
you, and she sent one to Michelle also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed.
And you thought the House of Representatives was noisy.
I'm sure we're a lot quieter than that.
Greg, would you put a call in the Whitfield and just see what they can get us 36 kW generators for? But there's still a lead time of
Thank you for
67
being here.
weeks.
Thank you
You don't have any cards you want to leave us, do you? Business
What
cards?
is that? What they're hanging their hat on. Iowa State law.
Do you want his information too? Like.
Well, we're in the
I just want yours.
I feel so special.
I'm gonna hold this.
Don't leave. I'm gonna check these and see if there's a page missing.
They're saying they're using all the safety laws.
Today? Where at? Oh, is that where your grandma's at?
I was late last time and she gave me his.
You better get your ass going then.
Didn't chill.
Yeah, you got 10 minutes to slide her off there. See you, Dave.
We can give you this back, maybe you can reuse it.
Thank you. Just checking your chair. I just want he's sitting there like we're not trying to do something. That kind of upsets me because we are trying to do something. We just gotta be right. It don't do anything good to make an ordinance. Exactly. We can't make something work.
But yeah, you just.
I think that when you have it, and it talks about our development, it stays away from the safety. That's like.
That's exactly what it is.
Conversation.
Done rather than.
But we're over here talking football.
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration.
Yes.
Department of Energy, I believe.
Yes.